Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to week 2, qualifying week for the Blue-Emu Firecracker 400. It is pole day here. David Schildhouse, happy to be with you alongside Parker Kligerman and Landon Cassill. Boys, it's been a week since we've been on air. Last week we had Race and Parker. We got a field of over 400 drivers whittled down to the top 88, and now those 88 drivers embark on an entirely different journey to stake their claim as part of the starting field for next week's Firecracker 400. Single car qualifying. What do we have on tap for tonight?
Well, you said it. Last week was an entirely different animal, right? Over 425 competitors split across 8 different races, all trying to get into the top 11 of the prelim feature. Fixed setup, right? That was the one big thing. They didn't have to work on a setup. They just had to work on their driving and outrace the other competitors. But then, when you become a part of that illustrious top 88, that's when you get to start working on the setup. And that's this round that we enter now here for pole day and eventually in a second run qualifying tomorrow. From here on out, you get to make your setup. You get to control your destiny, design the car to drive the way you want it to drive, and try and get every ounce of speed possible. And that's what we're going to have tonight. And I've heard, Landon, I want your opinion on this. I've heard some of these cars can be very hard to drive. So I think some drivers are trying to really lay it all out there, slide these things around, and hope to go for the pole.
Yeah, Parker. I mean, Dale Jr. was texting me all morning, telling me how hard his car was to drive. That he spun out several times. That he thinks he'll be lucky to get a lap in without crashing. And he's not the only one. I've had a few drivers tell me the same thing. I love these cars because you can adjust the spoiler angle, and that'll be great for the race. But I think for tonight, we're gonna leave that spoiler all the way back, and the car's gonna be pretty loose.
It's all about speed versus handling, right? We've talked about this when we saw it earlier back in March for the Carnomaly 500, that balance that you try to strike, the risk versus reward, Parker, of how much raw speed can you wring out of one of these cars but still be in control to make that perfect lap. So much goes into making a lap at full speed, and we'll take a look here in a couple of minutes about how exactly you do that. Before we get to the qualifying laps, more things to talk about, Parker. We've got returning for this year that Last to First challenge.
We do, and that's a big deal. The Radius Last to First challenge. Essentially, the pole winner tonight will be given the option, if they accept, to go to the back of the 43rd starting position for the Firecracker 400 for an extra $20,000, which on top of the $2,000 they'd win anyway, that would be a $22,000 win if they're able to pull it off. We had Nick Ottinger try it with Witt's RC Racing Products back in the Carnomaly 500. He was not successful. We'll see who gets that opportunity tonight, but Landon, such an awesome deal by Radius to do this, and I can't wait to see who's brave enough to take the challenge.
Yeah, Radius is a great partner of ours. They've got the onboard cams. They've got a couple drivers in the field, but biggest, most important of all, the first challenge. I can't wait to see Nick. Can he at least take the challenge again? Who knows? We're about to find out, I guess.
I think
I don't know why you wouldn't.
I would take the challenge. I'd definitely take the challenge.
Oh, I would definitely take the challenge.
We got to remind people, why is this challenge? They might be sitting there going, what do you mean by this challenge? Why is it hard? Well, guess what? There's no resets. This is as real as it gets. You're going to have to start the back of the pack in a race where the cars are not going to handle that great and drive your way through, get to the lead, and win it to get that huge prize. I think that's one of the most amazing things in all sim racing if someone is able to pull that off. I can't wait to see who gets that chance.
Well, we saw it in its first iteration back in Carnomaly 500. Nick Ottinger had the opportunity, did not quite get there, but he certainly took on the challenge after winning the pole. And winning the pole is just another step that these drivers are all taking to try and get to that promised land of becoming a Firecracker 400 champion. And what better way to better understand what it takes to go out there and make one of these qualifying laps than to hear from one of our drivers and our pit road reporter, Blake McCandless, with his guide to putting down a heater here at Daytona International Speedway.
If you want to get the best qualifying time possible, there's a lot more to Daytona than just turning left and never lifting. Let's break down how these drivers will maximize their speed and compete for a coveted spot in the 2021 Blue-Emu Firecracker 400. Tonight, drivers will only get one chance, that's right, one chance to record a lap during qualifying with no practice or warm-up in the session. That means they'll only be coming onto the track with cold tires, an open setup, a bundle of nerves, and a plan of attack to be the fastest across the finish line. For tonight's runs, drivers will be allowed to come off the apron during their initial drive onto the track, so you don't have to go all the way around the apron and immediately come up to speed doing so. But with the cold tires they get from sitting on pit road, it'll be vitally important to not spin their tires, need to check up or graze the wall, as any of these things are certain to affect their final time during their lap. Once the car reaches turn 3 and begins the final approach to the start-finish line, drivers will be hoping to have eclipsed up to 200 miles per hour. Watch for cars to take the high line near the wall and arcing down into the tri-oval for the optimal line to start their lap. As they approach near top speed, these 87 cars want to do one thing more than any other in these corners. They want to wreck. And on this Legacy edition of Daytona, what would otherwise be the best racing line near the bottom is incredibly rough to go over. Remember, this qualifying is done with open setups, so drivers opting to run with a lower configuration might choose to run more towards the middle in order to have a smoother lap and keep the car centered. On the backstretch, it's pretty simple. Everything is about building up as much speed as possible, which requires keeping the car straight as an arrow with as little drama as possible. There's really no optimal line to follow on this backstretch, but drivers will want to find their way towards the wall to enter turn 3 on the high side to arc into the corner. Keep an eye on the speedometer as they do. This will be a key indicator on the type of lap these drivers will be running, and they'll be looking right around top speeds of 212 miles per hour. While the concerns in turns 1 and 2 will be about getting loose, watch for drivers to have the opposite issue, especially getting tight off of turn 4. With 88 risks, expect to see at least one, if not more, per lap in the wall. And now with the start-finish line, the shortest distance is a straight line, and if that means cutting across the apron and even finding a bit of grass, then so be it. This competition isn't judged on style points, and many will take every advantage they can, given we're running 1987 rules, so the yellow line doesn't come into play. And with that lap complete, guess what? You're ready to watch the entire field take on Daytona for their chance to qualify for the Blue-Emu Firecracker 400. Get your predictions in, and let's go ahead and get back to the broadcast booth to get ready for some action. David, we ready?
Wow, there you go. That is well done. Thank you, Blake and Brian Blackford, both responsible for that fine footage there as we look high above the world center of racing, Daytona International Speedway. A beautiful day here in Daytona Beach. Track temperature 111 degrees. You saw it just tick up 1 degree there, and it'll continue to do so as we move through this day. Weather, Landon, based on real life conditions, this is going to be an ever-changing battle throughout the entire qualifying experience. Weather mostly cloudy, no wind to speak of. We talked about the wind during the racing last week. Wind not really a factor, at least right now. But this weather, all these drivers, they're going to be extremely nervous, keeping one eye on that weather report.
Yeah, I mean, these drivers have made thousands of practice laps, so they pretty much know the optimal conditions that their car needs to go fast. But when you get in the session, you can't control it with the weather. You don't know what that track temp's going to end up being. And there are some adjustments that these cars like with warmer weather versus cooler weather, or a little more track usage versus less. So for some drivers, it's a matter of just making that bet or making a final adjustment right before you hop in the car.
Parker, if you're one of these drivers, you're looking at these conditions, what are you thinking of adjusting real quick? Do you make an adjustment or you just stick with what you know?
Ooh, I would say most of these drivers were probably doing little tweaks and everything they could right up to that last moment that you're going to get your lap in right here as we're looking at Brandon Hayes-Cattell right now. And I just got to give a shout out to Blake and Brian there for that video there, because that was incredible. That was informative. That was interesting. That was a great watch and so well executed. I just have to give a huge shout out to those guys because that was really, really well done. That was the first time I saw that. I heard they were doing this, but I saw that live with all of you, and I just was mesmerized with that little tutorial about how to qualify here. And I feel like we're all more up to speed now, pardon the pun. So we know you turn 3, you got to do basically on 212 after that, and if we see those numbers, we know you're on a good lap.
Absolutely. Well, you saw and you mentioned the first car to take time here is our defending Firecracker 400 champion. Blake McCandless had an opportunity to sit down, get a few thoughts from the defending race champion himself as he's about to head out and be the first car to set a time.
That first one was so special to me. The first thing that comes to mind, I would keep the trophy here at my house. The thing that I gave my dad last year, I gave the trophy to him as kind of a late Father's Day gift. Just to win the race again would be just such a cool thing. I can't tell you how great it felt to win that race last year. It's the Firecracker 400, you can't beat it.
There you go. The thoughts from the man himself, the only one in history to say he's won an E-Racer Firecracker 400, and what a dramatic finish that was 1 year ago. And how ironic that he's the first car to go out and set a time here as we look, get him up to speed through the gears every moment on this track. Landon is essential as you get up through the gears. Everything that you do affects that lap time. And of course, he's in the Radius house car as well, looking good.
Yeah, it looks great. And the E-Racer Predictor's got him at a 42.25. So I'd say E-Racer Predictor thinks that Brandon Cassill is going to set a blistering lap. Maybe the past champion experience weighted the E-Racer Predictor. But a monster prediction from E-Racer Predictor. Nice, easy way to start. So make sure you're checked in and put in your predictor scores. Cassill looking like a smooth lap so far, Parker.
It is, but considering that we asked one of the predictor questions before we rolled the first car was, would we see a lap sub 43 seconds?
Yeah.
Predictor then immediately decided that we would on the first car.
There you go. Across the line he goes. 43.01.
Still a really good lap.
I did take the over on that. That's a solid lap. And that, he used up a lot of racetrack in 3 and 4. Blake talked about it, which Blake, hopefully he watched his own video and is fresh in his mind because he's the next car to roll. But Blake did talk about these drivers using a lot of the racetrack, and we saw that right off the bat, Brandon pretty much running in the middle.
And it's all about how you get up to speed, hold that speed, and use that speed. As Cassill finished his lap. And for those who have watched these shows before with us, we've got 2 under our belt. This is our 3rd show like this with last year's Firecracker 400, the Carnomaly 500 earlier this year. We get into the qualifying sessions. We take a look at Blake McCandless with that amazing Valvoline bucket hat. And we get into this rhythm of analyzing these qualifying laps. We start to look for certain trends of how many miles per hour they're covering at certain parts of the track, the line that they run. And again, with the weather being dynamic, that may change a little bit, but you sort of get a sense of who's on a good lap and who isn't. And that's the part that gets really exciting when we start amongst the 3 of us trying to judge these laps before we see that time. As Parker, we got Blake coming up to start his lap, and you wonder how much he's thinking about that video that he put together.
Well, yeah, he's the master.
Yeah, I would think so. He's put in a lot of time. He definitely knows what this thing needs, but these track temps 118, I mean, that's pretty high, wouldn't you say?
That is. It's some of the highest track temps that we saw during the prelims. So here in qualifying, it's a hot, sunny day, typical Daytona, June, July time, right? So it's definitely slick, and I think, he can obviously articulate exactly how to do the lap, but that's one thing. Another thing is actually doing the lap, and that's what we're seeing right now, and it's a pretty tidy lap. We'll see what this ends up as.
Yeah, it looked pretty good so far off of 4. He's going to use a little
Across
bit
the line
of
he comes. 43.05, a little bit slower than Brandon Cassill's lap there. In that familiar-looking paint scheme that we saw from last week, but a new sponsor on the hood, and TobyChristie.com coming on board with McCandless. McCandless will slot in second of... yeah, it's a beautiful car. I love it. Absolutely love it. So there you go. 2 cars already done. Cassill, the fastest time by by just a smidge over McCandless as we wait for the third driver to roll out, which should be the 52 of Jake Matheson.
We have a little congestion on pit road. Remember, this is a live session here. There he is.
There he is. That's a man who looks like he's ready to get down to business right there.
All right, make sure you get to the eraser predictor. It's just below. It's really kind of right below me tonight.
Oh, did it move?
Can you point that out again?
It's below David, and then it's kind of that way, and then when
Down
you
there.
bring it up, it's right below me.
Oh, good. So now people can see my face. They might want it back to where it was last week.
Yeah.
Jake,
Oh, man.
Jake looks like he showered and did his hair for us
That's
for
nice.
his headshot. We
He also-
appreciate
At
that.
least one of us did.
He's got the coloring exactly like the predictor and his numbers there. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
we appreciate
A
the color
simplistic,
coordination. Yeah.
simplistic paint scheme. The Williams Esports paint scheme, though, but it's effective. I wonder
It's
how many
simple.
different paint schemes we'll see by the time next week rolls around from what we see tonight.
I think by now, if you make the top 88, this is when you're locking in your sponsors, all those things, and or your teams. Now definitely thinking, all right, we got to get a scheme made. You made the top 88 of the Firecracker 400 with Blue-Emu by eRacer. I mean, come on, you got to have your sponsors in right now. This is prime time stuff.
I don't know. Some of them sponsors might want to see if you're in the 400 or the 200 before they pay out the big bucks. As Matheson completes the lap time,
What do we get?
43.08. So just a little bit slower than McCandless. So we've gotten a little bit slower each time out so far.
But
I
quicker than the
tracked him.
predictor.
Quicker
Yep,
than a predictor.
quicker.
He's the first driver actually to beat the predictor. The track
Yeah.
temp is continuing to go up. I mean, it was 120. It flashed 121 during his lap. It's back down to 120 right now. I gotta think that this lends favor to some of the drivers with a late draw that were feeling like they were unlucky with a late draw. This session right here, the qualifying session starts at 12:30 and in real time continues on to
Right.
the afternoon. So, you would think that 12:30 is the coolest that you're going to see the track, but 120 is pretty darn hot. So, I mean, it can definitely get hotter than this, but those drivers that are going late are probably pretty relieved to see that the track temp's not 99.
Well, let's if we haven't talked about it yet, Parker, you were part of the qualifying draw process. It's sort of something that flew under the radar a little bit as we watched Dylan Alt get up to speed in his number 42. But to address how qualifying order was set, it's different than we've done in the past, Parker. So how did we do it?
Yeah, so the Firecracker 400 last year, Landon had a bingo ball machine, right? What we had, and we spun that thing around and we picked out 88 numbers. This time we went more digital, more advanced, more high tech.
Techno savvy.
Yeah, techno savvy for eRacer, and we were actually able to use a online version of a wheel, spinning wheel with everyone's name on it. Myself and Josh Mendoza went about picking all of the drivers. I thought it would take basically an eternity. It only took about 45 minutes. And we had a lot of people watching that were intrigued by it. And that is how we set where you qualified. So it was completely random, completely a random draw. And, some were happy, some were upset. And I think at the end of the day, Landon, you said it well, though. With the temperatures we're seeing right now, that's a pretty decent lap as well. The conventional wisdom was you want to be early. That's earlier in the day. It's going to be colder, whatever.
Yep.
But we're not seeing that right now. And so I think these could be some really even, it could be really even all the way throughout this entire session.
Yeah, I mean, the track temp's back down to 118. So as you can see, that's a really good shot on pit road there that you can tell that there's a cloud overhead. So the cloud, catching a cloud just like in real life is going to play a big factor, Parker. So it looks like this track temp is going to fluctuate from 117, 122 right now for this session. Jordan Hurley's probably got the coolest track temp we've seen so far.
Low wind right now. by the way.
Nothing. Yes, no wind. Wind not a factor. We talked about how wind played in last week in the prelim races that we did. I mean, we saw gusts up to almost 20 miles an hour. Not an issue here today. And I know a lot of these drivers are probably very happy about that. They just have to worry about the track temp. Nothing is going to put a smile on these drivers' face more than seeing a cloud come out when they're on their lap. And that could be the greatest gift that any of these drivers see today is cloud covers. Hurley will take the green flag to start his timed lap. We saw Dylan Alt slot in just ahead of Jake Matheson, so that'll put Matheson 4th out of 4 as Hurley starts his timed lap.
You know what's funny is there's still a debate among some people that if the cloud cover really works or not. But when I was qualifying this past weekend at Nashville, I'm sitting in the truck and my crew chief comes on the radio and goes, "Oh, right, we got a cloud." I mean, it's just conventional racer wisdom that I don't care if you think it works or not. We were at a concrete track. Like, I don't know how much it works there. But the second a cloud came over, and then I'm in the car, and I'm thinking, oh, yeah, cloud, bring it on. Let's go. So we've got an issue to go. Whoa, wrecking.
Not the
we're
kind of. I don't know. I don't know what I just saw. It was a slow lap. We know that. Don't know if it was influenced by contact with the wall. I think it was. Tough to say. Again, when you do things on the internet, it can be subject to the internet itself, and strange things happen. So, not a good lap time for Jordan Hurley, which I guess is a good time to segue, Landon, into what tomorrow might bring, as this is a 2-day qualifying show, and I think Jordan Hurley is going to qualify again tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think we could talk a little bit about the format here. So we've got 88 drivers, and today we're looking for top 20. We're going to lock in the top 20 after today. Those 20 drivers don't have to worry about it. They can sit back, watch tomorrow, enjoy themselves. Obviously, the pole sitter's got a shot at the radius, 20,000 last to first challenge. So he'll be considering that.
Landon, what is this car? What type of car is this?
I have no idea. Is it a
Lublin?
All right. Well, I hadn't opened my drink yet, but now I'm going to. If you're going to get back to this.
Oh man. Okay, I'm the only one that's not drinking tonight. Anyways, we lock in the top 20 tonight, and the remaining 68 drivers will have a chance to rerun tomorrow, or they can stand on their time. So they're gonna have to look at the weather, get an idea on if they want to rerun, try to make a faster time, or stand on the time they ran today. Last year, I can tell you the drivers that reran benefited. They all went faster. Yeah. Most of them went faster. The drivers that stood on their time risked missing the race.
You get to that point, Parker, where you think about, as you get to that cutoff line, you start thinking, do I need to rerun? Is this time good enough? How many people are going to rerun? And these are things you just don't know. And when you don't know, how do you make that decision?
Instinct. Last year we had people that were already looking at the weather for the next day. Landon, remember that? Trying to predict what that was going to be like. Trying to, think if it's maybe they found something, maybe they made a mistake on their lap, and they really just are, truly believe that they can run a better lap. So I think all of those things, as we see Will Norton here, 43.1. I guessed he had the predictor out of a 43.02. I'd guessed he'd be slower, so I got those points. Not sure Will will be that happy.
And you guys distracted me with all this chit chat, and I completely forgot to make my pit. So a little mad about that right now.
Now here comes a driver that I think has a legitimate shot at putting himself towards the front end of the field here. Michael Cosey Jr., of course, for Logitech G Altus Esports. Had a great run last week in his prelim race. Know he's put in a lot of work with his teammates for this event. We'll see how Cosey gets up to speed here. Is that a blank car?
Wow.
That's not going to be his final form, right? Certainly he's going to have something on there.
I hope not.
Speaking of Cosey, I think Blake, our pit reporter, just got changed out of his fire suit and has got a report on Cosey. Blake, you got us?
Yeah, guys, which first off, thank you guys for welcoming me. I hope I have a career in broadcasting because the driving isn't going so well right now. Cattell's just doing a really good job. But yeah, so Michael Cosey Jr., in working with somebody that you all are very familiar with, Nick Ottinger, pole winner from the Car Anomaly 500 from a couple of months ago. These guys are running the same setup, so this could be the type of speed that we see a little bit later on, where some drivers are saying as we go forward in the day and the conditions change, it may be beneficial to be running a little bit later on, maybe in the middle part of the field. So it'll be interesting to see what Cosey's able to do.
Oh, that's a surprise. An unofficial technical alliance between the Logitech Gialtis guys and Nick Ottinger.
Ah,
Interesting.
yeah. Well, he is sponsored by Logitech, so
They are.
there is that combo.
They do have that in common.
You know, for
They
William
do.
Byron Esports, Logitech's their main partner in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, which raced last night, and they did not have that good of a run.
Not many people did. Cosey to second place, just missing out on the front spot by about 7/1000ths of a second. So good lap out of Cosey there. I'll talk to him after the fact to see why he's in a blank car. And that'll bring next to the line Jacob Fisher representing Space Station Racing in that very familiar black and yellow livery as he'll get up to speed here. Predicted time 43.118, which would be just 1,000th faster than Will Norton in sixth.
Yeah.
You know, I want to make a note that I think that just, you know, after 7 cars have gone here, I know it's still super early. Brandon Cattell rolling off first, running a 43.01. When he made that lap, I would think that he was probably not happy with that lap. Wouldn't you say, Parker, David? I mean, I would think that 43.01, he didn't like that lap. And after seeing some of these cars go, he's probably feeling a little bit better.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
thought
it's
a
tough
low
when you're the first one
43
out
like
there.
that. Yeah. I
You
thought a
don't
low
know. You don't
43
know what
like
everyone
that
else
was
is going to
gonna be
run.
good. Yeah, and I thought a low 43 like that was a 43.0 really low would have been good. So I think that's a solid. I think that's sort of what you want to be in the conversation for the top 20.
I mean,
Yeah.
my understanding of a pole run is still another 0.2 faster than that. I mean, is that what you've heard?
Is that your official proclamation? The pole time will be a 42.8?
I think, I mean, we've got to make pole time declarations. So, you know, I'm thinking it's gonna be a 42.871.
42.871.
Someone write that down. Write that down
Okay.
because remember last time in the Carnomaly 500 poll predictions, I actually guessed it
To the 1,000.
Yeah. So
That's true, you did.
yeah,
Oh,
That's-
Jacob
oh,
Fisher
no.
smacked the wall.
that could be that's a backup.
Oh,
car,
that's definitely a backup
Oh,
car.
yeah, that's a
which
that's
we
a,
should talk about. By the way, I don't know if we've explained
Yeah.
that. We remind
Nope,
people.
Yeah.
that's a good segue.
Yeah. Who wants to take it?
Go.
Yes, that's me.
Well,
So, all right.
yeah, that's you.
And knows about backup cars.
So essentially here with the realistic nature to the Firecracker 400 that we do here on eRacer, if you do crash your car in qualifying here, that means you have to go to a backup car, which therefore you would have to start the rear of the field if you were able to get a lap time in there. So that means the damage amount needed is sort of, well, it's up to us, but we can pretty much, being that Landon and I have raced for about 1,000 years, we can tell you when one's a backup, one's not. So that for Jacob Fisher there was definitely a backup.
Yeah.
Have confirmed.
Suspension was tore off.
Yeah, that is
And the
bad.
pickup
Have
points
confirmed
are
that
ripped off.
we didn't get the paint scheme for Cosey. He's confirmed in chat that he sent his paint scheme in, so we'll have to get that sorted out as we ride on board with the big dog, my main man, out of Chandler, Arizona, just a stone's throw. Well, depending on how strong you are, from where I am. But Justin Lisby gets up to speed here. We'll see how the big dog does on his lap here.
Pretty good speed getting to the line there, 208. Love this onboard shot.
Gives you a sense for how much the car moves around, how bumpy that surface is. It shoots him up the track. He's
man.
really struggling to hold on to that thing.
Yep, that's not the exit of 2 that he was looking for.
He really had to pinch that thing off.
Daytona has like a pocket on the very bottom of exit of 2, and no matter what, you always want to have the car rotated in the middle and just kind of shoot right off the bottom and, you know, just trip the yellow line with your left sides.
That thing was squirmy on exit, to say the least, as he goes across the line. Time is going to be a 43.256. Yeah, that's going to be disappointment for the big dog on that one. probably going to be another run tomorrow for him if I had to guess.
That's gonna be a
Okay,
rerun.
so back to the poll time predictions. All right, so Landon, you said a 42.871,
42.871.
and
You
Parker,
want to
you
over
said
under
what?
that, or are you guys gonna make your own predictions?
I'm gonna make my own.
Okay.
You want mine?
Yeah.
42.956.
Wow.
No.
Yep.
Okay, so that leaves me.
I'm writing this down.
I'm gonna go 42.916.
All right, it's set.
Is this like Price is Right? Can I get a 42.917 or something?
Yep. Hey, on track right now, by the way, Bob Bryant,
How about
driver
that
for
guy?
Kligerman Sport in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola Irish Series. Last night had a great run at Pocono. Crazy
did.
restarts there, but he was able to survive them, and I don't know how. At times, getting put 3 wide and all over the place, but got a stellar finish.
3 wide would have been a blessing to some of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was.
I was watching that.
Times. It was cool. He did a great job, though.
There were times I had to question if they were at Pocono or Talladega. It was tough to tell sometimes.
Yeah. That was wild.
Beautiful, beautiful looking car for Bob. There's not a good entry into 3 skate racetrack.
Yeah,
I mean,
definitely slipping around.
You know, maybe, but Cattell was definitely that high on his lap.
He got a good exit. He was able to bring it, like, when he got to the middle of the corner. Looked like he slipped a little bit there as he went to the apron. Wow!
Saved it!
Wow!
42.996, your first driver into the 42s. Strong run from Bob.
Showmanship right there.
That was something, and that line through 3 and 4 did not hurt him apparently.
No. I bet you if we
looked all
talked to
over the
Bob
place.
right now, I bet you if we asked him, he'd say he had more in it.
Well, he'll probably be upset with just that wiggle because that definitely
Yeah.
it landed in the corner, and then it just did one of those death wiggles, where it lands, it compresses, it hits full compression, then the car just doesn't like the way it's landed into the corner and suddenly does something you don't want it to. He saved it, still got an awesome time, but wow, that was an eventful lap.
Yeah. So there you go. That was a track temperature of 117 degrees. Bob put down that lap time. So that sort of tells us that's another piece of information for us to know as we watch this happen, that you can run, at that track temperature, you can get into the 42.9s. So that sort of gives us a bar to judge and go off of as we watch Justin Botello get up to speed here in his number 20. Come up to speed, see what kind of lap time J-Bo can put down.
Landon better hope we can get into the 42s easily because he's got a 42.871 as his prediction for pole.
I just don't want to
Big wiggle there.
Wiggling again.
Wow, what a moment.
There's a bump down there. You guys know this. There's a bump down there in the bottom of 1 and 2. If you hit it wrong, especially in these cars, with how they like to bottom out, it will absolutely shoot you up the racetrack.
Oh yeah. You can see.
Yeah, you can. We're all thinking the same thing there. You can just see the attitude of that car. He's holding on for dear life. Points it down to the apron. Across the line he comes. 43.420. So definitely a lap that I think he'll have to go and try again with that one. That'll put him 10th out of the 11 drivers who have run. And have to look for some more speed. But I think maybe for him, just watching that onboard shot, they need to find a little more security in the way that car is handling.
Yeah, not going to be happy with that one. Ryan, do you
Well,
set
Ryan,
here?
Another driver. Yes. That's 79 coming out. Another driver that we saw last night in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series race at Pocono. Found himself a new teammate in the Coke Series as well, Parker. Coming out of Nexus Esports with our new driver in the 44, Anthony Burrows, joining the fight.
Right, yes. And Anthony made his first ever eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series start, which I think was a lot of eyes wide open moments for him in terms of the competition level. Being that he was the first one to miss out on making the eNASCAR Series at the end of last year. But he did a great job, and I think he learned a lot. And it'll be exciting to see him work with Ryan and the Nexus Esports guys to see if we can find a little more speed going to the next few races when he's not just trying to understand the competition level of the series.
Right. And that third driver in the Coke Series out of Nexus, Jake Matheson there in the 6th position. So a lot of representation from that group here.
By the way, we should just call him Walter at this point.
Yes.
He's not Walter. He's Walter.
It'll be a slow transition to just, he is Walter.
He is Walter.
You said into 3.
14 there.
That's the other thing that we're going to be watching is those end of straightaway speeds. Off into 3, 214 is pretty good.
Oh, and that was a nice rotation in the middle of 3 and 4.
I think this is going to be a big lap.
I think it was a...
Oh?
Look good. Look good.
No.
43.11.
Look at we know.
Looks can be deceiving. What's that old saying? If it looks in control, it's slow. Something like that, right?
Yeah. I think that was Mario Andretti, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
I know I butchered it, but you know where I'm saying.
Maybe it was Aristotle that said that or something. Was it?
I wasn't around back then. I've been around for a while, but I wasn't around back then. Sorry.
What is this? Is this one a Celica?
Oh, another one. This is definitely a Toyota.
It
Celica.
is.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you love to see that. Then we don't have to give it a name. The Celica bird. The Celica bird.
Nope.
Cellbird. Jailbird.
Toyota bird.
Oh goodness gracious! This is gonna be one of these is not gonna be enough.
Track temp is holding steady though at 117.
It has been. Yep. Hasn't moved around a whole lot.
Giving these guys a shot.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Wind isn't
Here's
moving.
a view.
Oh.
Toyota.
I love it.
That is cool.
Make sure you're getting your picks in before these guys take the green flag on their laps.
Yeah, it's tough. And that one's gone. All right. You'll see a little timer, by the way, if you're looking at the predictor and, you see the pick pop up and everything, and then you'll see a little timer there. When it gets down around 5 seconds, it'll start counting. You got to pick before it gets obviously 0. Oh!
Wow, way up the track. That's probably a little too high.
Yeah. I think it's going to be a theme. Us, sort of diamonding that corner. Blake McCandless let us know that it's definitely going to be tighter down there as he completes his lap.
Oh boy.
Oh,
Hold on to that thing.
Saved it.
43.3.
Kind of an awkward tri-oval approach there as well, as he'll slot in the 11th position out of the 13 cars that have taken a time so far.
I tell you what, I'm still waiting on the first guy that's going to loop it after the tri-oval and potentially hit those cars that are parked right there on pit road. I'm just waiting for the first time. Maybe we'll have to wait another year, but it'll be epic when it happens.
One day.
I've been waiting for that for all 3 of these events that we've done where we've done this type of qualifying with cars on the track. Not yet, but oh man.
That would certainly put a delay in qualifying.
A lot of backups.
Hey, while we have a second, I want to shout out. I do want to shout out a new sponsor that's part of the show here.
Yes.
You'll see
yes.
our rotating graphics down below, down this way. Sorry, I went the wrong way. Voyager, right now, take a look at the bottom screen. Voyager, new sponsor of mine on the JD Motorsports number 4 Xfinity car for the rest of the season. So welcome, Voyager.
Good looking race car.
Yes, thank you. For those of you that don't know, Voyager is a brokerage platform where you can buy and trade cryptocurrency. So I was paid, my sponsorship was paid for in cryptocurrency, which was super awesome. For those of you
Wave
that
of the
know me,
future.
know that I've been involved in crypto for many years, so I'm very proud to have Voyager a part of the team and Voyager a part of this broadcast as well. You can also download the app and use my promo code Landon, Landon.
Nice.
And start trading now.
That is.
Yes, very appreciative.
And if you do have crypto holdings right now, want to transfer them over there, what do you get, Landon? Because this is a pretty impressive thing. If you if you put your crypto holdings over there, you get some serious interest.
Yeah. So Voyager offers incredible interest rates. So, instead of keeping your money in a bank account where it makes basically no interest, you can keep Bitcoin and 60 other cryptocurrencies and earn 6%, 7% interest on them. You can actually even keep USD coins. So just if you don't want the risk of a cryptocurrency value fluctuating, they pay 9% interest on USD coin.
That's an excellent. You're not getting that from your bank. I'll tell you that right now. As we
No
watch
way.
Ty Marasco finish his lap, and not the lap Ty was probably hoping for there, as he'll slot in 13th out of 14. But both of you coming up with new sponsorships for Nashville the past weekend. Awesome to see Parker having Fast.co come on board on the truck. I ordered my hoodie. I know a lot of people ordered their hoodies as well. It was a great deal, $5 hoodie. So I'm really excited for both of you guys to see new sponsorship. That's always very important to see. It's good for the sport, good for both of you, and some for us to talk about. And it's just it's great to see that. So big thank you again to Voyager, Radius, Transservice, iRacing, Valvoline, Blue-Emu, everybody who makes these shows possible. And again, for both of you, personal accomplishments to get sponsors to keep racing is pretty awesome.
For sure. Appreciate it. Definitely very cool. And, it's definitely to our supporters who make these events possible, like Blue-Emu, Voyager, Transservice. It's really cool, to see them get involved in the sim racing world on the esports side and, help us create these awesome events that so many people enjoy, and all that you are watching right now across the internet on all the different platforms that you're on. We couldn't do it without them to create these awesome prize pools and create the all the graphics and the predictors and all this fun stuff you see. So it's a huge effort. It's a team effort. We've got so many people that work on these shows. We can't thank them all enough for all they do, and the sponsors are a big part of that. So definitely, if you see a sponsor on there like Radius or Transservice or Blue-Emu, go on there, check it out, go to their websites, interact with them, follow them on social media, tell them that you appreciate them being a part of what all we do here.
Absolutely. Watch
Thanks,
Tim
guys.
Sozio from just up the road in Fort Lauderdale as he's going to complete his lap in his number 16 machine. Down to the line comes Tim. See what he puts up here. Track temp 126, and that's reflected in the lap time 43.263 for Tim. So the track's slowing down a little bit right now, as we haven't seen a lap time towards the top end of the pylon in quite some time. But again, that track temp 126. That is a hot track.
It is skyrocketed. We were saying it was staying pretty steady. Then the sun came out, and we are literally at track melting temperatures at 126 degrees. That is the highest track temp we have seen across the prelims, of which there was 8, plus the consolation races, so say 16 different races, and now into qualifying, 126 degree track temp.
Parker, take a look at this car. What is on the hood of Will Klein's ride? There's a in memory sticker. Is
for
that
Seth
a
the Merchant.
Seth the Merchant? It's a Seth the Merchant forever in our hearts, because Seth had the most unfortunate luck in the prelims. One of the favorites to win his prelim. One of the best drivers on iRacing in general, but one of the best. Big event, independent event driver.
Yeah, it was a big shock to not see Seth make the top 88. Will Klein doing his part to spread awareness of Seth the Merchant's absence here. As he'll start his timed lap. We'll see what Will Klein can do.
That is a great tribute. I'm not sure what to say there. Seth he has been very successful in our events. I'm not sure, just not making it to the top 88 is warranted in memoriam sticker, but I love the camaraderie amongst the competitors, and very cool to see.
We watch Will Klein through 3 and 4 here. He was a little up the track in 1 and 2. See if he's able to pick some time back up here as he completes the lap. 43.227. So that seems to be sort of where a lot of these guys are riding right now, is in that 43.2 to 43.3 bracket. One more look.
We race to win, always in our hearts. Oh, thank you for that, Will.
Brad Slaughter Jr. also says me and Seth are in counseling together at this point. So they both missed out. They were very fast. Hey,
Yeah.
you're not. By the way, speaking of sponsors, this one always goes unsponsored because it's highlighter yellow. John Gorlinski. He's got a brand and he runs with it. No one can pay him enough to get rid of that brand.
I mean, Menards is the obvious answer to step in and
I was
not have to
gonna
make
say,
any changes, right?
He's gonna help him out. If you have those colors, he'll run it. But you got, he's in a really tricky position sponsorship wise. Normally, as a race team, you'll do whatever it takes to get the sponsor. You'll do whatever they want. In his case, he's like, look, if you don't match up with highlighter yellow in your color scheme, then I'm not taking it. So if you have a company and you have those same colors, you can reach out to John Gorlinski. Could be a match made in heaven.
He was
and Parker,
in control of this race a year ago. He was leading
on
the last lap for a brief moment. He was leading this race. He certainly knows how to get this done.
Mubot just reminded me in the Twitch chat to join Discard. One record that John Gorlinski holds: the most days in a voice channel in our Discord after an event. So join our
How long was it
Discord
again?
for more information. It was over 9 days, Parker.
Over 9 days. We kept asking if he was all right.
I think he was.
I saw
just soling
215 there on the
himself
miles
after.
per hour. John's flying
that
right
thing's
now. Track
glued
temp
to the bottom.
121.
Yeah, could this negate that the track temp was the reason we saw those slow times? Could this
Yeah,
just
it'll
be a
definitely-
fast one?
He
This
could
is
certainly
definitely
negate
a lot of
that.
guys.
It's fast.
42.998.
Oh, right to P2.
Yep, second fastest, 2,000ths off Bob Bryant's time. Good lap there for John. That's probably safely in the top 20. Cole Freilich on your screen, a underdog, if you will. Blake had an opportunity to sit down and get Cole's thoughts, and we'll hear those before he rolls off for his lap.
Well, I've kind of always told myself that like nothing's ever going to be easy, and when I was doing the prelim night, I really didn't have it ezy because that was hard going through the field like I did. So, I mean, it's not really like a thing that I carry that like I'm the underdog. I've been an underdog my whole life, so I'm kind of just used to it. At this point, I'm kind of just there in my mind. But yeah, it's definitely cool to be up there with a lot of the bigger names. Yeah, I mean, I think we are a little bit on the underdog side, but I mean, it doesn't bother me none.
There you go. Straight from his mouth. Doesn't bother him
Love it.
any. If any, probably some motivation, right?
Yeah, I love it. Embrace it, man. I've been an underdog. Parker's been an underdog. We know what it's like. And dig in. That's when you have the most to gain.
Exactly. You got nothing to lose, most to gain. The expectations, are not weighting you down. It's go out there and just do the best you possibly can. The predictor thinks he's going to be pretty fast at a 43.086. See if he can live up to that time. But really cool to hear from these drivers, by the way. Our whole production team, I was just talking about them, but this is awesome. We were able to get some interviews with a host of different drivers. You'll see those come throughout the show here tonight, and it's awesome to see these hear from them, what's going through their minds, what it means to be a part of this event, where they stack up, that sort of thing. Ooh, a little wiggle down there for Cole.
Big correction there.
Yeah.
He holds on to it. I mean, he can keep calling himself an underdog, but he keeps showing up in our events in the biggest moments. So at some point, he's going to shed that off as he completes his lap here. Cole Freilich across the line.
Big slide.
Oh, saves it. Not the best lap time, but he's still got a race car and probably be looking at another run tomorrow. 43.5 for Cole Freilich. That'll slot him in 17th out of the 18 cars who have run so far. And now we'll bring up one of Parker's favorites, one of the best haircuts in the entire field, Colin Bowden, ready to roll off.
That is a serious mullet. That's mullet dedication.
Now that's a year-old picture. We do have to say that's a year-old picture.
Yeah.
We did get confirmation last week when Colin Bowden was racing in his prelim that it still pretty much looks like that. So that's good.
Perfect. We do so. NASCAR each year now asks you for a photo of that year, well lit and such. We do the same on Predictor, but if you can at least attest you look exactly the same as a year ago, then we'll let it fly and Colin Bowden's in that situation. So.
Now, do you guys look like you did a year ago?
No, I'm way more fit. and better looking. I only get better looking with age, so it's like just a linear curve, better looking.
I like that. Like a fine wine.
Yep.
Landon. It's tough to tell with Landon because he has laser eyes, so it's really hard to tell.
I could never. It's like the eyes are the window of the soul, but his just pierce through you with lasers.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah.
Right on board with Colin. This is a tidy line right here, right on the bottom. That car looks completely unaffected by those bumps.
Can I just give a quick shout out to the chat right now? MooBot is asking people to register for the Firecracker 400 today. That won't allow you to do that. Just so you know, we are in the second round of the Firecracker 400. If you do click on that link, please go to our subscription area for the mailing list, and we'll let you know when the registration for next year's third annual Firecracker 400 is available. But that currently will not work, that link. So
Good lap.
Wow,
Good lap
very good lap.
for Colin Bowden. First quote-unquote fast lap we've seen in quite some time. It'll put him 8th with a 43.087, just ahead of Ryan Doucette. Decent lap there as we look at Blade Witt. Another driver out of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series. That's a sharp-looking paint scheme. I like it. There's some paint schemes you can look at and you just know, like, it's of that era. It just fits. That is well done.
Pinstripes.
Yeah.
Pinstripes always look good on a race car.
Yeah.
They look retro.
Sort of white maroon. I like it.
Brown. I feel like brown was the color of that. Maroon and brown. You know.
Maroon, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, look at that! It's got some of that like metallicness to it.
Yeah, that's nice. That is a beautiful paint scheme right there. Big number 7 on the door, looking straight out of like Ultra Motorsports era, like the size of that number on the door.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wow, what a throwback. Ultra Motorsports.
Man, that'll always hold a special place in my heart.
Oh, of course.
He starts his lap here. Again, reminder, keep the conversation rolling on social media using hashtag Firecracker400 on Twitter. I already saw a lot today, a lot of drivers, sponsors talking about the ramp up to qualifying and what's on their mind, knowing now that it's on them as drivers with open setups. So if you want to get involved in the conversation, definitely check that out on Twitter. Again, the hashtag Firecracker400. Shout us out. Let us know where you're watching from. Show us what your setup looks like if you're participating, or even if you're not, what your sim rig looks like, or how you're taking in this great event today, tomorrow, and what you're looking forward to as we watch Blade Witt complete his lap here. Across the line he comes. 43.147. That should put him 11th on the 20 car field here. So now we filled out that 20. And remember, it is the top 20 who locked themselves in after tonight.
Oh, this is a tough prediction right here. Zach Novak and a 43.10. I don't know what side I want to be on this.
That's how you know it's a good predictor question then, if you can't really like just instantly answer it like that.
This Jakes85 says sim rig is a Thrustmaster T150 and a wooden desk with a chair. We still want to see it, so don't hold back.
Beautiful.
I want to see it. We got a spot in the eRacer Discord called Sim Rig Flex. Feel free to post that picture there. Sometimes if we like them enough, they'll end up on our social media promoting your sim rig. So, put them in there. Put some photos. Join us in Discord, by the way. The MooBot will bring you the correct Discord link, although it will occasionally tell you can also register for the Firecracker 100. That is not true. You can join the Discord. That is true.
It's funny you mentioned that, Parker. On Monday, during the Monday Night Racing event, Josh Mendoza, who's an integral part here at eRacer, race controls for Monday Night Racing, and accidentally put a quick chat about registering for the Firecracker 400. So, it's not just MooBot, but it's just, we care. All right, we just care, and we want you to be a part of it.
Yeah. We want you to know, we want you to register, even when you can't.
Wow, look at this car. Look at the platform on this car. This one's a little bit different than what we've seen. The front end is really, really high. Left front is really high on this car.
You could, as we say, throw a deer
Gorlinski's
under it.
car looked like the left front was digging. I felt like. This one's tipped a little bit differently.
It looks smooth.
Yeah.
I guess I
Looks like it
predicted it to be
handled.
slower than a
I
43-1,
did
but
too.
I think I was wrong. Let's see
Across the
here.
line he comes. 43.189. Just missed that predictor time.
All right. I like getting those right. I feel good, guys.
Another
Orange
slot
jacket.
Novak into the 12th spots.
You know,
Yeah,
I
I've
see.
seen a lot
or
of,
salmon.
I've seen a lot of questions about when you got inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Parker. You want to address that?
You know,
That's a good
I
one.
got this a couple years ago, and I've never worn it. And now I truly think after wearing it here, I'm going to wear this out in public one day. So
All right, Landon, what stands out to
Look
you
at
immediately as
this
you
thing.
saw Justin Fuller pull away?
How did he get the back of the car squatted down
Right.
so much?
there's no way
That
this thing
thing
makes
is-
it to a corner.
That thing is
This car-
collapsed.
This thing is gonna drag so bad. Is it sparking? Can we get a shot?
Oh
Look
my
at
God.
What
that.
is going on with this car? Can we get a shot up close to the back, like maybe a chase or something, and see if this thing is sparking through the corner? Because that's gonna determine on whether I go faster or slower on the eraser predictor.
I can physically see the exhaust literally touching the ground.
I saw
No.
Landon. I saw your eyes light up like mine did as soon as I saw him start to pull away with that rear end just planted into the ground.
This seems like this is one of those setups where you're like, in theory, this will be great. In
yeah.
actuality, no chance.
You know what?
Let's
I'm
see.
going faster. I'm
I
going
went slow.
faster. I went faster.
All right.
He's
that
got it.
front end just up in the air really concerns me a lot.
Oh, he killed
Oh,
a
yeah.
ton of mid-corner speed.
Oh yeah, it's all over the place. It just sparked, bottomed out.
This thing boogies down the straightaway there. Look at it. 212, 214.
Yeah, it's not it. I like the theory in practice. I don't think they're gonna be too happy with the result, but it was worth a shot as he was sideways out of 4 there.
Come on,
All right,
Justin,
you know,
hang up
sometimes
to
you
it,
just
buddy.
gotta try something.
It actually was
Look at-
quicker.
Oh,
and he's-
Oh, backup car! Oh,
Faster
no!
paid, though. Faster paid.
Yeah, 43.258.
Oh. Slots in, what, 15th? But we'll need a backup car.
Oh, goodness gracious. Well, anybody who's on a similar setup to Justin Fuller now has something to consider.
Yeah.
That was not a bad lap.
No, it really wasn't. I mean, he went
It
faster
wasn't.
than people who weren't using that type of setup. So,
Yeah, it moved me back into the top 3 on the predictor today.
Got Donovan sitting here on pit road still.
he's just showing off that JDR graphics paint scheme.
I think you can go down, Donovan. No? You see the RPMs rising, and he pulls off.
There we go.
There we go. Maybe he was just taking a second to meditate.
Donnie has a flair for the dramatic.
Yeah.
It's a good looking number too. I like that number font.
This is a tough one.
Yeah, 43.12. Donovan's definitely capable of some speed there. I'm starting to watch these cars more and get an idea of maybe what a good one looks like before I make my pick.
Glad you're paying
Track
attention.
temp's 125, so it is going up. Going back up, I could say. Gosh, that thing looks good. It's that one in the track.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very stable platform.
See what
An
a speed
even
at the line.
platform.
I think Strauss is going to lay down a lap here.
Points that thing right to the bottom on entry. Lets it ride up about a half a lane right there to get over the bumps. Nice arc through the corner. That's a
carried
well-composed car right there.
He carried about 3 miles an hour faster off a 2 than Fuller did. Just running before. Min speed.
Oh, he's loose on entry a little bit. He's
not
fighting
gonna
it.
like that.
No,
Yeah, that
it
didn't
might have
help
been
him.
too shallow of an entry into 3.
Yep. This might even go on the over. Oh, and he did. He went fast.
43.11.
Wow.
Nice call on the
43.11.
predictor.
I knew. I I picked the other way, and I knew I was.
Stay up.
I knew it.
If not for the slip up into 3, that he might be looking at a low flat.
Yep.
So he'll be thinking about that, I would imagine. Not the cleanest lap, but it is P9 for Donovan Strauss overall as we look at Dylan D. Thomas out of Denison, Texas. Another mullet wearer.
A lot of good hair in the E-Racer event.
Yeah.
Great hair. Great hair. By the way, that was our 23rd car that we've run here, so we have a couple that have fallen out of the top 20. And so now they'll just continually be watching now to see where they stack up and what. Remember, they'll have to make a decision of if they rerun tomorrow or not.
Oh, it's the
sit under
tungsten
tungsten.
car.
Yeah, woo tungsten.
You know, Alex Bowman said woo NASCAR. Dylan Thomas says woo tungsten.
Yep. Got some
Drivers
questions.
who've fallen out of the top 20. Ty Marasco, Cole Freilich, Jacob Fisher right now.
As we watch these, we got some questions in the chat. When does Dale Earnhardt Jr. run? 79th. So you got a while. Stick with us. Keep watching. He's way towards the back.
All the more reason to stick around and watch.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got to stick around and watch because you got to see, basically, what's he going to have to do? What's he going to have to run to get in that top 20? Lock himself in. What's the chat think? Does he get the pole, maybe? Dale Earnhardt Jr. He did win his prelim. He is
in
fast.
dramatic fashion.
See what Thomas Scott here. I think it's decent. Is that a 20?
Good.
Oh, 34. I thought it was going to be a 24.
43-34. That's going to put him
18th.
18th. Yep. That now knocks Justin Botello outside of the top 20. Puts Dominic Howe on that 20th spot. Here comes Landon Huffman.
Another good Landon.
Hey! Yeah.
This
Windshield
is a
deep.
good predictor number for Landon as well. 43.27. I know he wants to go faster than a 27, so
Yes. A 27, that would put him 18th right now if he matches the predictor time.
I saw this car on Twitter. Excellent paint scheme here.
Beautiful.
Windshield deep. His podcast and was it the TA Academy for the short tracks late model stuff, which is pretty cool. They do that and they help people out get better. And great number, by the way. Great number. 75.
Ties it all together.
Yeah, big fan of the number.
what did Blake say you needed to be at the line at the end of the backstretch on your outlap?
206.
200? 206?
I
I would say about 202, but that was in
Oh.
hotter weather. I'd say probably 203 now, maybe. Is about where you want to be, like entering turn 3.
Yeah, I don't know why I answered for you, Blake, but I'm glad you were there to answer correctly. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
Parker answers to anything, honestly.
Landon's
Oh,
got
boy,
a
he's
bobble.
fighting that thing.
Oh, whoa,
boy.
Come on, buddy.
She's driving good.
Some short track racing right there out of turn 2 as we look at the speed down the back straightaway. 212. Seemed to be about 212. Car is not one to stay on the bottom.
This guy is a real racer, though. Here's a guy that just posted on social media just a little bit ago. Said he had an off weekend from scheduled races and said, anybody who's got a race car and wants me to drive it, give me a shout. He didn't care if it was a late model, modified, street stock, a lawnmower, a go-kart. He wants to race something this weekend.
You think he got
Those
a
are our
ride?
favorite types.
I hope he does.
I hope he does too.
It was a 43.198 puts him in the 14th position.
He did beat his time.
Landon Huffman
I think
beat
that
the
will
predictor
be.
time.
Yeah, and I thought he'd be faster. And that's at 100.
Oh, this is an easy one right here. Are we going to
Well-
say that Logan Clampett's not going to go faster than a 43.3?
Here's his problem. It's 128-degree track depth. This just keeps going. I didn't even know it could go this high.
All right, it is scorching out there.
How high can it go, Blake?
Well, it's one of those things. I've kind of been looking at it where I thought I was going to go, so I didn't plan on what the track temp was going to be at 1:30. I didn't care. As soon as I was going to be second, I was just focused on what it would be at the beginning of the session. But I'm still surprised we haven't seen a cloud in a while. I think that's why, as it's gotten later in the day and the track's taking more heat, I think also we just haven't seen cloud cover in a while.
Wind still not a factor here. Still 2 miles an hour on the wind. That really hasn't seemed to change as we watch Logan clamp it. Get up to speed in his Logitech car. Different than what we saw a week ago, right?
Oh, yeah, they have switched it up a little bit, haven't they? There's retro Logitech cars. I love that. Also, if you look below the telemetry there, you see the bubble. That is the time of 20th. So that is what you got to beat to make sure you are inside the top 20 and locked in. I love that little graphic there. Bubbles of 43.345.
Currently held by Jordan Hurley.
Yeah, and kudos to our production team with this the incredible amount of info we're getting during these qualifying laps. This is a tidy looking lap. Oh, a little wiggle there. I don't know if it's fast.
The line he comes.
Oh yeah, it's good.
It's a good one.
43.065. That's a big lap. Out of Logan Clamp, but that'll slot him in P6. Just behind Blake McCandless, just ahead of Dylan Alt. One of the faster laps we've seen in quite some time.
I'd say
back
that's
into
a big
the
bullet,
O's.
For our good friend Blake as well, dodging that one.
Yeah. Here's another one he'll have to dodge. Michael Guest, another driver, looking to represent the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. 130 degree track temperature right now.
We got a mostly cloudy. I don't know about that one. It is clear as can be, and it is just baking this track. It is getting hotter by the second. The
what do you mean? I'm loving.
Yeah, you're happy. Bob Bryant's happy right now. I wouldn't be very happy if I was one of these competitors looking to go. And here's the thing, Landon. You're seeing these track temps go up. Are you making tweaks to this setup that you've been working on as you see these track temps maybe get higher than you thought they would be this early in the session?
I would think so. I mean, I would think that pretty much up until today, I probably tested at really high track temps just to give myself a worst case scenario. And then once we announced, once you looked at the weather and saw what the weather was like at Daytona, I probably would have started testing at that specific weather and dial your setup in even closer after that. And at this point, you're just watching the weather, and before you jump in the car, probably making a last second tweak as it goes up to 131.
Wow. So what are the adjustments, Blake? You know these cars really well as far as building setups for them. If you're getting ready to go here and you see a track temp of 131, what might you be tweaking on the setup to try and compensate for that?
Right now, I think you found a lot of your speed. I'd say probably the one thing you want to do is you want to lower that track bar a little bit, because obviously as temperatures continue to rise, it's going to continue to be loose, but also use your resources. This is the one thing y'all have set in competition meetings, as it looks like Michael Guest runs 135 right there. You guys have set in competition meetings. The one thing in real life that y'all get to do is you get to look at photos of other cars. Well, guess what? Everybody that's watching the broadcast or in this session, guess what? I'm doing the same thing. I'm taking notes. So this guy's left rear, this is what it looks like. This is what his right rear looks like. So there are drivers, I'm sure, that are going on later on in the afternoon that are looking at the Brandon Kittells, the Bob Bryants. What did their car look like? Does our car fit that model? And if it doesn't, and if we're slow, can we get it there just before we go out to qualifying?
There you go. We look at Nathan Rabideau. Look at that. Look at that smile with the mustache. He is ready to rock and roll. We call him Rabidabadoo. And
beautiful.
He always brings
car.
a beautiful car to the racetrack as well. Known for, every time I've seen him and raced against him, I've known him for a few years now. He's got that sort of purple livery with him, and this one certainly is a beauty as well. But you just look at him and say, man, that's a guy that likes to drive race cars right there.
Man,
this car's a lot lower to the ground than I've seen some other ones. We've seen a lot of cars with the front end high, the back end down.
Right front's up, though. You see that? The right front's up in the air a little bit.
Yeah, which with these cars, the right front is going to be up no matter what.
Cover.
They've got a little sway bar. Oh, yeah, track just dumped down to 128. You know, we don't have really soft springs in the front. There's no coil binding. There's no bump stops. A lot of compliance in the front end of these cars, so they have to roll. So you're gonna see the right front up a lot.
I think Nathan here's gonna love what he's been seeing. Ooh, little sparks coming out there.
I think
Things
it's
bottoming out.
dragging.
Oh, looks so harsh. But the
Man, the thing looks
like
good, though.
cloud cover has plummeted the track temp.
43-163 for Nathan Rabideau. That'll slot him in 15th. Put him in the 15th position, ahead of Zach Novak. You got to feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, but I think you could be slightly disappointed in that you're watching the track temp drop as much as it is there, you know, and some of the cars that just went before you at 130 degrees were a tenth and a half faster, right? Or a tenth faster. That's a little bit of like, okay, I didn't have the speed sort of feeling.
Right. 29th driver to take time here is going to be Jesse Atchison, no stranger to the sim racing community, and certainly big events like this one as we take a look out.
What's
right
the
along.
Thundercats?
Oh, is it some sort of club?
Nightclub?
Nightclub, is that where we're going to find you after tonight?
I was thinking social club or something like that.
I'm pretty sure that's a callback to the cartoon, if I had to guess.
Okay.
From
Got
the 80s. Yeah, I mean, you guys were around then, weren't you?
No. I was born in 90.
Oh,
Chris Davis
brother.
in the chat just said, "How young is this booth?"
Yeah,
Oh man, we're the ones putting on an '80s event, and we can't even reference an '80s cartoon.
Yeah.
Way to
See
go.
what I have to deal with everybody with these two kids? Unbelievable.
Yep, unbelievable. My producer's in our ear telling me how disappointed he is.
Ashton fighting that car through 1 and 2.
Yep. Looked like he just never got it to the bottom.
Sort of a pseudo Robert Yates, Davey Allison throwback with the 28,
Oh, a lot of
but with
bounce in
Thundercats
there.
on it.
Carried the speed though. I mean, as angry as that car looked, it seemed like it still carried good speed. Never
The
saw
line
it
he
go under
comes.
200.
For JA, it's going to be a 43.251. Certainly not the
Wow.
lap time he was hoping for. That'll slot him into 19th, and that has knocked a few more drivers out. Tim Sozio's been knocked out of the top 20. Justin Fuller's been knocked out. That'll put Justin Lisenby as your 20th driver right now. So Big Dog holding down the 20th and final transfer position. Dylan Thomas has been knocked out. Jordan Hurley. And so that's 29 drivers that have taken
Botello, yeah.
time now.
Are you surprised at Botello? I mean, can we talk about J-Bo for a second? I mean, I would have expected maybe a little more speed out of him. I know last year I think he struggled in Firecracker 400 qualifying as well. But
You know, for a lot of this, and I'll give you my take on it. And this is just my perception of things, right? And I don't know with certainty, so this is just speculation. A lot of this at this point comes down to what we see in the series competition, Road to Pro, Pro Series, Coca-Cola iRacing Series, because it's open setup. It is team based, and so really a lot of this is driven by who do you know, who do you work with, and where are you getting your setups developed. And we know the teams that are going to show up with a fast race car who have these cars figured out. What I don't know is where Justin Botello is getting his help from, who his support group is, and what kind of setup he's showing up to the track with. So it may be he's got more work to do. Perhaps he just didn't hit his line. But I think that is the territory that we get into at this stage of these events, is what we see in those other types of big open setup competitions.
Great point. And I think the then it comes down to how much practice have you put in with that setup, right? How much have you nailed the little intricacies, there of what it takes.
What did you say the first time?
I don't know what I said the first time, but I got it the second time, so I'm really happy about that. The point of that is there's these tiny little things. Landon, you and I, we do our little competitions during the test races to see who qualify each other. And I always find it fun because it's just little tiny things that make the biggest difference. So and you know what? Blake had that incredible video at the top of our show here that if we have a little time, I'd love to run one more time just to say, hey, this is exactly what you need to do on your qualifying lap to go out there and get one of those pole laps if you've got the speed in the car.
Run it.
If you want to get the best qualifying time possible, there's a lot more to Daytona than just turning left and never lifting. Let's break down how these drivers will maximize their speed and compete for a coveted spot in the 2021 Blue-Emu Firecracker 400. Tonight, drivers will only get one chance, that's right, one chance to record a lap during qualifying with no practice or warm-up in the session. That means they'll only be coming onto the track with cold tires, an open setup, a bundle of nerves, and a plan of attack to be the fastest across the finish line. For tonight's runs, drivers will be allowed to come off the apron during their initial drive onto the track, so you don't have to go all the way around the apron and immediately come up to speed doing so. But with the cold tires they get from sitting on pit road, it'll be vitally important to not spin their tires, need to check up or graze the wall, as any of these things are certain to affect their final time during their lap. Once the car reaches turn 3 and begins the final approach to the start-finish line, drivers will be hoping to have eclipsed up to 200 miles per hour. Watch for cars to take the high line near the wall and arcing down into the tri-oval for the optimal line to start their lap. As they approach near top speed, these 87 cars want to do one thing more than any other in these corners. They want to wreck. And on this legacy edition of Daytona, what would otherwise be the best racing line near the bottom is incredibly rough to go over. Remember, this qualifying is done with open setups, so drivers opting to run with a lower configuration might choose to run more towards the middle in order to have a smoother lap and keep the car centered. On the backstretch, it's pretty simple. Everything is about building up as much speed as possible, which requires keeping the car straight as an arrow with as little drama as possible. There's really no optimal line to follow on this backstretch, but drivers will want to find their way towards the wall to enter turn 3 on the high side to arc into the corner. Keep an eye on the speedometer as they do. This will be a key indicator on the type of lap these drivers will be running, and they'll be looking right around top speeds of 212 miles per hour. While the concerns in turns 1 and 2 will be about getting loose, watch for drivers to have the opposite issue, especially getting tight off of turn 4. With 88 drivers all having to take these massive risks, expect to see at least one, if not more, in their lap in the wall before getting back to the tri-oval. And now with the start-finish line in sight, the shortest distance is a straight line. And if that means cutting across the apron and even finding a bit of grass, then so be it. This competition isn't judged on style points, and many will take every advantage they can, given we're running 1987 rules, so the yellow line doesn't come into play. And with that lap complete, guess what? You're ready to watch the entire field take on Daytona for their chance to qualify for the Blue-Emu Firecracker 400. Get your predictions in, and let's go ahead and get back to the broadcast booth to get ready for some action. David, we ready?
Back to Daytona International Speedway, high above. Take a look at current track conditions. Track temp 126. Winds kicked up here a little bit, up to 6 miles an hour as we take a look at our next driver to take time. Someone else who's very integral, very important to this entire production here at eRacers, helped out so much, helped film that very informative tutorial alongside Blake McCandless. That is Brian Blackford in the number 33 FOS. Or Thunderbird. Good-looking race car. We'll see what Blackford can do.
Oh, yeah, and that's Front Office Sports. They are a publication that covers the business of sports. So cool to see them a part of the Firecracker 400 here. And I think he will be disappointed if he's not faster than that eRacer predictor. How much time Brian Blackford puts into all this. I predict he will be faster.
I'm gonna give him I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt here on the predictor. He's got that left front looking. This is looking a lot like Novak's car. Not sure if the two of them work together setup wise or not, but this is high ride heights, high left front, it looks like.
Hits that line really nicely over the bumps. Car looks pretty composed from this shot. Don't see the hands moving around a whole lot. Down the backstretch he goes.
Love
Of course,
this
setups
So much speed.
and Brian Blackford sort of linked at the hip after the controversy, if you will, from this year's Carnopoly 500, where Blackford's setup sort of got leaked and used by others. I'm sure he'll have a lot more security on it this year, or this race, I should say, as he comes to the line. Let's see. How does he do?
I think it was better.
43.069. Nice lap time there. That'll slot him in 7th, just behind Logan Clampett. So good run there. And again, track temp a little bit lower than what we've seen. Wind up a little bit from what we've seen. But Blackford using it to his advantage. Slots in P7.
I mean, there's pretty decent cloud cover right now. We had, just before we went to break, we were kind of seeing that temperature come back down a little bit with some cloud cover. So Tucker Minter, probably this is as good as he can ask for. But the predictor's got some faith in him. Predictor wants Tucker to put this thing top 10.
Well, I know there's one guy out there who would be remiss if I don't mention him, because he was responsible for that front office sports car and a couple other cars we see in this field, and the one right here is his personal favorite. That is Andrew Stallings, who is the founder of Othello Management Services.
Big sponsorship around the Firecracker 400.
Yeah, did a competition similar to Marcus Lemonis, and basically put these drivers in competition to see what they could do on social media to get their sponsorships, and was able to get, I think it was 8 of them out there, and a couple made it through here.
$1,000, aren't they?
Yeah, and a couple made it through here, and including this one, which is the Othello group. Oh, Tucker gets way loose. Oh no! Oh no!
No! Up into the fence he goes. Tucker Minter will be the first driver to not put a lap time together here, as he spins that thing out. Not only a backup car, but certainly a driver will have to take time tomorrow. Disappointment for Tucker Minter there. Broadcaster's curse a little bit.
Maybe. He is going to finish the lap, though, so
It will be a lap.
He will get a lap.
It will be slower than the predictor.
just,
better pace slower, though.
I mean, it never looked like, I mean, Landon, you've talked about the cars looking like they're in the track. That car never looked like it was in the track by the time he hit the banking for one.
Well, and I saw some sparks under the left front, so maybe just got the left front a little bit too low. Hit the racetrack a little bit, just had a car pointed the wrong direction over the bumps.
He will finish the lap at 59.261, so certainly a driver we'll see tomorrow in round 2 of qualifying. And that will bring to the track another driver out of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, representing XSET, very popular Twitch streamer, Casey Kerwin in the number 38.
And Casey with an 084 prediction. This is a good one. I
That's
like
a
that.
fast
I like
lap
this
time.
one.
This is a hard one.
I think I know what I'm going with, too.
Well, track temperatures 120. Certainly a cooler track than Brian Blackford had when Blackford went at an 06. Intrigue.
There's a lot of happening here.
Big front ride heights. You can see the camber
yeah.
kind of pulled up in the tires like this.
The right front, way up in the air. I think he's purposely gone to the center here, kind of diamond the corner to get the runoff.
Yep. Oh, you got a good runoff, too.
A lot of speed he's carrying to the line here.
Oh yeah, this is fast. This stays tidy.
Watch his hands here as he works through. Lets the car ride up a little bit. It bites right there. Holds its line. Very nicely done.
Didn't go all the way to the
neutral,
bottom.
but it looked neutral. You know, it didn't
Yeah.
look like he had to. He was sliding one way or another. Wasn't sliding the fronts or the rears. It just very much neutral. I think that was
Nice
by design.
pointed entry into 3. Didn't really have to use the wheel a whole lot. The car turned on its own. Stays on course there. This is going to be a
This is
nice
a big
lap.
one.
This
It's a big one.
Does he nail the tri-oval here? Down he goes, back up.
That's a new. Oh!
43.06.
Oh, not a new pole.
I thought it was.
Wow. Beat the
A little bit
predictor.
faster.
I mean, that predictor is pretty darn good. You gotta
That was good.
admit it.
That was good.
It's pretty
was good.
smart.
That'll put Casey P6.
Artificial
and-
intelligence, folks.
Not to just fixate on a specific guy, especially because he's in our booth right now, but McCandless has dodged 3 big ones that I think
You ain't lying.
will play a huge role in whether or not that 211 car is near the top 20 cutoff or not. And I think that McCandless is probably going to look pretty good in terms of being inside the top 20, especially because of those cars that he's dodged.
I think if you're in the top 5 right now, you're feeling pretty good about your chances of staying in that top 20 to lock yourself in. As we look at Michael P. Frisch
P's in the chat.
and the bar visuals machine. Predictor of a 43.146. Another driver from the Florida area, Fort Lauderdale. He's got a nose for the front in big events as well. He's won a lot of big events across the iRacing landscape. Wants to add an e-racer championship to his resume. Perhaps Firecracker 400 will be the one for Michael P. as he starts his lap.
Guys, I'm just looking here. So we're down to 120-degree track temp right now. The sun has popped back out mid this lap.
I would think it's going to start warming back up.
Yeah, I think we can see things starting to get really warm. So this could be some of the best conditions we see here for Frisch.
The
Can he
spanky
go
powered
down?
machine across the line.
Oh!
43.112 for
He
Michael
beats it.
P. Frisch. That'll put him 13th.
And he beats his predictor, which I didn't have him doing. So that was a
I
good
didn't
lap.
either. I did not either.
No, I didn't get those.
I'm still in the top 3. I'm still kind of playing around there in the top 3.
I'm 6th right now.
Hey, look at this.
The other Logitech
Here's
car.
a monster
Oh,
right here.
all right, folks. So yeah,
Last year's pole
Predictor
winner.
let us down.
Or the Carnomaly pole winner, I should say.
Can you play the Jaws theme right now? Because there's about every single
Can we
person.
change the predictor? Can we change the predictor on this one? Is it too late? Ah, shoot. Okay.
I love when you speak to the producer. That must seem like a great conversation from the outside.
Sorry.
All right, Chad, if you don't get this one right, assuming he doesn't wreck the car, which we would all be shocked. If you don't get this one right, then I don't know what to tell you.
I'm telling
40. I hate to say it, but the over/under on this one is 42,996. What's it gonna be?
Carnomaly 500
All right.
pole winner.
Yeah.
Took the last to first challenge. Didn't survive very long, but
he wants
certainly
another
somebody-
chance at it.
yes, defending eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series champion. Anytime Nick Ottinger hits the track, eyeballs will follow as he works that car a little bit lower than Casey Kerwin was through 1 and 2.
I still thought it was pretty high, to be honest with you.
But I saw the one thing I saw in his is it rotated a ton there in the center, which Casey's did not. It was just very neutral. Oh, once again, there's a wiggle, but you can see how loose this thing is. It's so much on edge, just on the right rear. He's barely moving those hands off of 4.
Huge speed there.
Things look like it's driving itself. Clips the grass across the line. 49 or 42.915. That is
Wow.
a new top time for Nick Ottinger. And there you go.
Can anyone get to him?
What did I say? What was my lap time prediction for pole?
You said, so I wrote them down. Hold on here. Hold on. Let me find these. So
Something
you
close
said
to that.
42.916.
Ooh.
Oh, I had a 42.956, and Landon is a 42.871. All right, guys. Well, we got a lot of cars left to go. I know a lot of people want to hand him the trophy right now, but I don't know.
Well, for the record, let's state the conditions that lap was put in. Track temp was 120 degrees. Wind was 6 miles an hour out of the north. We'll see if anybody can beat that. That is the new gold standard here in Daytona Beach as we look at Jake Nichols. His number 24 Mode Media House machine. Tough night last night in Pocono. That much is for sure. Looking to rebound here with a good qualifying lap.
I'd love to hear from Bob Bryant what he thought watching that lap. Love to know.
What do you think Bob would say?
I don't know.
All right, down the back straightaway. I love that car. Love that paint scheme. The turquoise looks so good. Lets it float up in the corner there. Points it back down to the bottom. Left side tires right on the yellow line. Very tidy line through there. See what it's like. 43.068. 1,000th faster than Blackford. That'll put the 24 in P9.
So, guys, I asked the question with Bob Bryant. What was he thinking during that, watching that lap from Nick Ottinger? So, you know what?
Do we have him?
I think we got him. Let's see. Bob Bryant, we're sitting here. You've been sitting on this pole for about, 30-something cars. Everyone's wanting to hand Nick Ottinger the trophy. You've been dodging bullets left and right, and there he goes with that blistering lap. What do you see in that made him so fast?
Well, he honestly put the setup together that we used, and you look at the lap, and he just nailed it. He bobbled a little bit in 1 and 2, but he hit 3 and 4 really well. And I was kind of all over the place in 3 and 4, so I knew it was coming. And honestly, I'm glad that he hit it. He deserves it, so hopefully it holds up.
Did you? What did you think of your lap? Were you happy with it?
I was just happy to survive, man. It was not a foregone conclusion that I didn't take a header into the wall, so I'm glad that didn't happen.
10-4. Well, good lap. We appreciate the real-time information and feedback. We're gonna get back to qualifying here, but I think you should be good to stay in the top 20.
It's looking that way. Hopefully. We'll see. It'd be awesome to be in the show, so we'll see.
Awesome. Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you later.
Take care, guys.
There you go. Bob Bryant. Second on the scoring sheet right now as we watch Blake Neer on his lap. So another driver on the Nick Ottinger setup. Not the first time we've heard that tonight. How many people are riding around on the Ottinger setup?
You know who else is? Dale Earnhardt Jr. is.
Oh! Also, a great lap here, Blake Neer.
Great lap, 43.082 for Blake Neer. We'll slot him P12 right now, just ahead of Jake Matheson. It's a good lap.
How do you feel about your lap now, Mr. McCandless?
I mean, I feel like I got everything I could. It felt stable. Unlike last year, I think I drove a really good lap. I got everything I could out of it. I'm feeling pretty confident here. I think as we go on, it's going to get hotter, as we know. So it's going to be close, but I'm feeling pretty good right now, unless a couple of drivers. The thing is, you can look through the pylon right now. It is so close around that 6th, 12th right now. It's just so close that it's going to come down to just a 100th or so, depending on who walks into the top 20 tonight.
I would say it looks like you're on the right end of it, though. I mean, there's more cars between an 06 and an 08 than there are between an 06 and an 03.
Oh, beautiful paint scheme here for Eddie Ball, Eddie Kerner out of Chicago. That splash and go paint scheme looking good. That is ready for the beach right there. Let me tell you something. Eddie Kerner, awesome. No stranger to going fast for a lap, Landon. You know better than anybody.
Yeah, the most recent, the defending champion of the Cassill qualifying challenge. $10,000 this guy took home.
Oh, no!
no!
Well, he ain't
Oh!
taking it this time, at least today, as he makes a
No
monumental
backup.
save. A huge
take a
moment there
rerun
in the middle of 1 and 2. And Eddie Kerner will save the race car, but it won't be the lap time that he was hoping for.
Definitely we'll be seeing him in tomorrow's second round qualifying. I had him going faster than the predictor. Tons of faith. And we should say, as you mentioned,
I
he
did
is the
too.
defending champion of the LCQC, Landon Cassill Qualifying Challenge, which will be making a comeback later this year. Got to figure out. Can't quite announce the dates yet, but we know it will be returning, and probably in a bigger and better way than ever, and
Yep.
very entertaining way. So
In
looking
a
forward to it.
unique format. We're looking forward. Yeah, we're looking forward to a new
Take a
format.
look.
It's gonna be fun.
And where it all went wrong for Eddie, and
I'd say it just
He
got
just
into
kept-
shallow.
he just, yeah, it looks like when he gets to the bottom, the bumps sent him up the racetrack, and just couldn't hold on. And if he can't hold on to it, that tells you something, because he can hold on to quite a loose race car. I think that
Oh my
gives you some
gosh.
context of just how close these guys are to losing it as they push these race cars for a fast lap time.
Look at this thing. The McConey setup shop on fire here. This gives me serious Stephen Wallace vibes when he used to race the Xfinity Series.
Yep. I can see that. Logan Helton, another Florida-based driver. See what Logan can do here. That left front pinned right down onto the racetrack.
Definitely a low car. I don't know if I've seen a trend of lower or higher being faster or slower. I'll leave that up to America's crew chief, Landon Cassill.
I think that
I don't
title's
know.
already taken.
Yeah, well, I know. I was just messing.
We got the internet's
He-
crew
he-
chief and Blake.
We have the internet's crew chief, Blake McCandless.
Yeah, I don't think the low cars. I think the lower cars maybe handle a little bit better, but I don't know if they have the speed. It seems like you want to get the front end up, the back down, and I'm sure at that point you're sacrificing quite a bit of handling, right, Blake?
Across the line. Logan Helton, big wiggle, smacks the wall.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
I don't know if that'll be a backup.
43.190 will put him 23rd.
That looked like a hit that could be fixable. Knocked the tail out.
yep.
I think he'll get away with that one.
Yeah.
And now from a Florida-based driver across the country to a driver out of Sacramento, California. Another member of the Space Station Racing contingent, Justin Knobloch, will take to the track in his number 94.
Got some of the chat asking what is the temperature. It's 123-degree track temp right now. 6-mile-per-hour winds out of the north. There we go. Your wish is our command. We just throw up the temperature for you and the weather conditions.
Blake, tell us about the wind, because in the first session, we didn't have much wind to speak of, and now it looks like we've got 6 miles an hour out of the north. What's that doing to these guys?
Well, I think the one thing it's doing is, I don't really know if it makes that much of a difference. I know kind of the iRacing standard is about wind north at 2 miles per hour. That's what I tested in, and of course we pretty much had that in the first session. I would say the wind, it's just kind of neutral right now. Obviously, I know there are certain directions of wind here at Daytona that'll give you a little bit more of a boost. I think north, you get that advantage, but I don't think it really does a whole lot. It doesn't really change the handling all that much. We talked about it in the prelims. We had these huge gusts of wind that would really change how the cars would handle. We're not really seeing that right now. So I think the wind is being pretty consistent right now. And I think that's all the drivers really want, is just something that they know what they have in front of them.
Thanks, Blake.
Makes total sense.
Across the line, Justin Knobloch, 43.115. That should be good enough for 18th. And that'll knock Blade Witt out of the top 20. Other drivers who have been knocked out of the top 20, Nathan Rabideau, Zach Novak, Logan Helton, Landon Huffman, Will Klein, Jesse Atchison, Justin Lisenby. But just because they're out of the top 20 now doesn't mean they're out of the Firecracker 400. Just means they're not going to be locked in by the time that they're done today. It's just the top 20.
I just give a shout out to this paint scheme, guys. Captain America's arrived.
Let's see it.
Garrett Conrad here. Oh,
Wow.
man.
Oh, look at that.
This is just
Beautiful.
getting... Oh, this is so patriotic.
Beautiful.
And then the scheme. The
Now, I will say, Garrett
numbers.
Conrad said in chat that he was either going to go pole or he was going to be flipped upside down. So I guess we'll see what happens here.
Well, it's 42.915 that he needs to beat if he wants to pole.
Another driver out of Nexus Esports, one of the approximately 3,275 that are on that team.
Big team. Need big rings. Little wiggles. It doesn't look like it cost him too much down in turn 1, though. Oh, wow.
That's a high line.
Big
But
diamond.
carries speed back down to the bottom. That could help
Big
his
speed.
run down the straightaway.
You know, that's something because you didn't see him go under 200 miles an hour. We've seen several cars go under 200. And I don't think anybody with a blistering time, but a few drivers with a decent lap.
You diamond that corner, right? It's all about how little you... Oh, no! Oh, no! Oh, my goodness! He almost did it. He almost flipped it. He almost held up his end of the prediction. He almost flipped that thing. Huge hit into the outside wall for Garrett Conrad.
That's what we call the hospital hop.
Oh, my goodness.
Man. Oh, with open face.
I don't know if the hospital's needed after that one.
This. Oh, no, no!
Oh, gosh.
That is not what you want to see.
I think he was sitting on a pretty good lap there.
But you could tell when he was going off into the corner, just in the straightaway, the back was porpoising and bouncing. It had the wait, Landon, what did it have?
Almost, it was even like hucklebucking, maybe.
Oh,
right.
no.
It was hucklebucking.
Oh, no. We're back to this.
It was
James C. Wright taken to the track. Another driver out of Florida, Winter Haven.
Would love to know what this guy looks like.
Predictor of 43.065. That is the same lap time that the Clampett ran.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no. Solely because James didn't get us a photo.
Yep.
So.
Oh. Oh.
He might
Very
have
just been a little late for our production team, but that's why we have deadlines.
So Garrett Conrath will be the first driver to not complete a lap here in qualifying. As James Seawright will begin his journey again way up the racetrack, but as I was trying to say before Conrath wrecked, it's about not losing speed, and you lose speed when you turn that steering wheel and scrub those tires. So if you do sort of a enter low, let it drift up naturally, and then let it run off the corner, you're not turning the steering wheel a whole lot. You should be faster in theory. See if that works for James Seawright. Nice line. Oh, a little too far there onto the apron. That's going to smack the wall out of the corner.
Oh, no, we got a big one here.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
Back-to-back wrecked race cars. Can he get it across the line? He's trying. I don't think it's... Oh, that's... Nope.
He's going to the garage.
He'll get there. He'll get across the line. So he'll finish the lap.
It counts as a lap time, but it's
Killed.
destroyed. Now we
and we all saw it. Landon, you pull that car to the bottom and you clip those left sides on the apron and it shoots the car right out to the wall.
And he went 9-9. We're gonna have to see a replay of that one.
Yeah.
That was a big shot. That's 2 wrecked race cars in a row. Track temperature 122. Winds fluctuating between 6 and 7 miles an hour out of the north.
Could it be the wind?
Well, the track temp went up a little bit.
Let's get a shot at Morse here. Let's see what he's gonna run. 43.23 is a predictor. Then we'll get a replay on Wright.
Yeah, which we'll need to see that full replay. Once we get past this lap.
Christopher Morse starting his time to run now.
I'm giving.
Can he
Morse
bring an
some
end
love
to the
here.
pattern of wrecked race cars?
I think he can. It's probably a little bit of a mental challenge.
Oh, I don't know. And now that right rear's heated up. And remember, last year this was such a theme. If you got a big loose in 1 and 2, then you were petrified going off into 3 and 4 because you heated up that right rear tire. Can he hold on to it? Oh, right. Trying to stay in it.
And he's gonna get her there.
Tidy.
Yeah, he's finishing it, but let's see if he gets the predictor. Nope.
43.459.
I said he would.
Not a lot of speed.
I think he lost a lot of time down in 1 and 2 there, that slide. So
That'll be 35th out of the 42 cars who have taken to the track. As we take another replay here of James Seawright's wreck. Left side tires across the yellow line, smacks the wall. And then the inside wall for good measure. Oof.
Oh, that hurt.
that would be a
Big.
absolutely diabolical hit in real life.
Yep.
Yeah.
That actually physically made me hurt because for a second there I just imagined and knowing how that feels, hitting walls at that angle and that speed. Oof.
Yeah.
Good thing we're sim racing.
It is a great thing we are sim racing.
Graham Boland's car is looking like, it's low in the back. It's looking a little bit like Justin Fuller's did.
I thought you were going to say it's looking a lot like Eric Almirola.
It is looking like Eric Almirola's car.
I don't know about you guys, but I just have Eric Almirola vibes looking at it.
It's crazy how that works. One of the biggest shills for Smithfield.com you will ever find, both on and off of the sim. Graham Boland starts his flying lap. He's got his teammate Dylan Duval in the field as well. We'll see him later on. Where's he goes 83rd, does Dylan Duval, so
Now I want bacon. It's weird.
bacon.
Bacon.
Ran a pretty low line through 1 and 2. Just clipped 214 at the end of the straightaway there. Low and
I have him
3-4
going
again.
faster than predictor here.
I do have him going faster, yes.
Yeah.
I'm with you there. That's a good lap.
Well, I think this is a really solid lap. Oh, this is a good lap.
43.059.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a good lap.
Graham Boland.
Puts him 7th on the board.
Yep.
Really solid
tied
lap.
to the 1,000th with McCandless, so we'll have to get a tiebreaker. Maybe
And that's
race director Josh Mendoza can do a quick tiebreaker for us.
And that's 125-degree track temp, 6-mile-per-hour winds. I think that's he can be really happy with that lap.
Joshua Chin now takes to the track and is number 54, another Florida-based driver. To say that Joshua Chin was unhappy coming out of last week's prelim races would probably be a bit of an understatement.
So,
And it would be a
Go ahead.
surprise considering he moved on. You would expect perhaps the driver who did move on to be a little more upset, but he did move on and he was upset. But here he is, left front pinned down to the ground, seeing what he can do. Part of the Firecracker 400 last year, involved in that last lap scuffle that sent Colton Salick flipping down the back straightaway. He was in a position to win that race last year. Now back to see if he can do it this year.
what's his social media handle again?
King of Chins.
Well, he only has one. He has one chin.
Thank you, Parker.
What? So, do you think? How much do you think experience is gonna help a guy like Joshua Chin, who's been through this whole event, both round, been through qualifying, ran the whole race, made it to the final lap?
I think it helps a lot. I think it means the world compared to somebody who maybe wasn't here last year trying this and who didn't do Carnomaly either. I think any experience that you can bring into a race like this is good experience.
comes off for here. Landon, we do have to talk about, you brought up there, we'll get into it in a second here, as Chin goes across, this could be a good time. Oh, wow, really good time.
Great time. 43.062. That'll put him P9.
It's a great time into the top 10. You mentioned after the lap there, Blake McCandless and Bolin tie. And how do we break that tiebreaker, Landon?
If it's in the same iRacing session, iRacing automatically breaks the tie for us. If they're in a different session, then we'll revert back to their prelim qualifying time. So we currently have race director Josh Mendoza reverting back to prelim qualifying time. We'll get a tiebreaker between McCandless and Bolin. Get an answer.
I think they should do a 1v1 to sort it out.
About to grab the rule book. I'll be right back.
I was going to say, we're just going to put them in the gulag, Call of Duty, to see who comes out on top.
Oh, no.
Gulag knives only. Let's go.
Kane Cook's car has got a lot of rake in it. Left to right.
Now, for those who aren't as technically savvy, can we get an explanation of rake?
Rake is something you use in the yard to
I'm getting another truly.
clean leaves. In a race car, rake can be the height of your car left to right. So you see the left side of his car is lower than the right. Sometimes we call that rake.
Okay. And what does it
Hey,
do?
left
Is it
to
an
right?
arrow? Is it a mechanical? What is it?
It kind of affects both. And I'm not sure how it affects aero in these cars. Mechanical, it'll wrap the sway bar more if the right side of the car travels more. So you use the sway bar as a torsion bar a lot more. If your car has a lot more rake in it, you kind of unload the left rear spring a little bit.
So I can tell you come from the short track world. In the open wheel world, rake is forward and back.
Front to rear.
Front to rear. Yeah. I was like left to right.
That's pitch.
Yeah.
That's pitch in an oval car.
It's pitch in an oval car.
Lap complete here for Kane Cook. Where did he slot in? I thought I saw 43.09 for Kane Cook. There he is, P17 right now. That'll knock Justin Knobloch out of the top 20. Will Norton will fall out of the top 20. Michael Guest will fall out of the top 20 as well, as we see Connor Horn roll onto the track, another driver that Blake McCandless sat down with. Let's hear what Connor Horn had to say.
When you put these special events on like E-Racer does with the Carnomaly 500, Firecracker 400, these types of events where you get all types of drivers and mainly the pro drivers and even past pro drivers, NASCAR drivers, it's really big to do well and get your name out there. You had guys like Donovan Strauss behind us, and then you can look at the names that didn't make the field, like Kyle Busch didn't make the field. Pro drivers like Jimmy Mullis, Santiago Gutierrez, and many other big names like Ralph Alla who missed the field. You can look at those guys who missed the field and be like, hey, I made the field. That's a pretty big deal. Someone's going to look at this.
There you go. The thoughts of one Connor Horn, the driver out of Forked River, New Jersey. Get some perspective of what it meant to him as he looked at where he stood compared to some of the benchmarks that he had going into the event. And how he moved on, and some of them did not. So interesting to hear that perspective.
Very cool.
I love that. And I think that's exactly, Landon, why these are designed the way they are. It's that exact feeling that he described of being able to race against a host of some of the best in the world, from the sim world, from the real world. And, if you show up and you're good enough, you all start at 0 and have the same chance. So I just, I love to hear that. And I liked when he said you kind of put your name out there. That's what we hope, as we get a big Larry slide of 43.207. It's a little slower than the predictor. But I think when we created these, it was the hope that eventually it'd be events that if you knew you did well at it, or people saw you do well at, that put your name in front of a huge audience and a huge set of racers. And I think that's what we've definitely accomplished here.
Yeah, I mean, that was our goal, is to just give these drivers a chance to race professionally, be treated like professionals, act professionally, put them on a professional platform. So We love seeing them getting sponsors. We love seeing them active on social media. We like getting their pictures, doing interviews, giving them social media content to help them spread the word and promote this event. It just makes it better, makes it more fun.
No, absolutely does. Rare opportunity. We don't get opportunities like this all too often. And we look at the beautiful Radius Bounty, the 1K for Jared Ickes, as he heads down the Daytona Super Stretch. A lot of fond memories of that paint scheme.
Yeah, Jared led some laps last year in the Firecracker 400, racing for a $1,000 bonus from Radius.
I love that scheme. I think it's
Such a
just the
good-looking
coolest
car.
scheme. I like having a letter, too, behind. When it's done right like that, 1K, it just makes sense. It's awesome.
Beautiful. Beautiful race car. I'm sure Radius Bob out there watching, enjoying the show. Big supporter of what we do here at E-Racer, Firecracker. See what Jared Ickes can do as he works through turns 1 and 2. Seems to be a pretty composed lap here. See how he gets on.
Actually,
What?
one thing that's interesting is we watched, as we've gone through here, so many cars running, is that bubble has fallen to a 43.114. So he's got to beat his predictor time if he wants a chance to be in the top 20 here.
Yep.
I think this will be close.
Oh, big wide. Saves it.
Yeah.
43.257 though. That's not going to be good enough. That'll put him 33rd on the scoring sheet right now. Nick Ottinger, your provisional pole sitter, still with that 42.915. Bob Bryant, John Gorlinski, Brandon Cattell, Michael Cosey Jr., top 5. McCandless, Bolin, Kerwin, Chin, and Clampett round out the top 10. Check at conditions here. Track temp holding around 122 degrees. The winds died down a little bit to that 5 to 6 mile per hour range. Another great shot high above the World Center of Racing, Lake Lloyd, there in the infield, running parallel to the backstretch. We work through day 1 of qualifying here for the Firecracker 400 pole day. So Eric J. Smith takes to the track in the number 99.
Landon was far back in the booth there. Who knew it went so far back?
Sorry about that.
What do they got back there?
Yeah, what's back? I've never been back there.
I was sorry, I was in the green room getting some lobster tail.
Oh my
right.
goodness.
I'm a big fan of the caviar that we have laid out here tonight.
Yep.
Caviar?
Another sip of champagne. You didn't try the caviar?
Yeah,
I didn't
weird.
get invited. I didn't get
we were
let in.
out
I
of
said I didn't have
crackers.
access.
I sent it back for more crackers.
Oh my goodness. I don't get access to these things.
We did just update the tiebreaker that is Bolin ahead of McCandless.
Oh.
Let's talk about
Bolin is
tiebreakers. So
sixth.
for those who want to know how we settle tiebreakers, the fastest prelim qualifying time breaks the tie. That is your first tiebreaker. If those times tie and they're in different sessions, the highest finisher in their respective prelim then breaks the tie. If that doesn't work, the third and final tiebreaker, if they have the same prelim finishes, their first round qualifying draw will break the tie. So that is how we do that. 3 different levels of tiebreaker. Fortunately, in this case, we can rely on the first level to not go too deep into tie-breaking territory.
Smith completes the lap. Ooh, good time.
43.085 for Eric J. Smith. We'll slot him into the 15th position. Do want to update you on Ross Tatum, who was scheduled to go prior to Smith hitting the track. Ross Tatum not able to take his lap. And that will turn things over to Alec Martinez. Young man out of California announced his sponsorship on Twitter today. I'll wait for him to get up to speed, but boys, just looking at those colors, what do you think of when you see those colors on that type of race car?
Ricky Rudd. Oh, was I wrong?
Piece. Dale
What
Earnhardt.
they put in that caviar?
That's a good one right there. Alex
Ricky
should have
Rudd
some
did
speed.
drive a car that looked a lot like that.
He
They
did.
actually drove Wrangler cars at the same time, I believe, if I remember correctly. Not that I was alive then, but if I remember correctly from watching the old video.
That was, around that time the Thundercats was becoming really popular, Parker.
Thunder. Yeah, we'll fix. That sound. I remember them vividly. Yeah. Oh. JD Stacy. Now that's a name that if you want to have a little throwback. So the JD Stacy mentioned in the chat there was, I don't know if many people remember this or know this, especially for the younger ones out there. It was a guy that basically sponsored, I think at one time he sponsored like 7 cars in the Cup Series. Everyone was sponsored by JD Stacy. And then no one got paid. So JD, it was interesting.
What? In motorsports? Come on.
Unbelievable.
Someone came in and said they had all this money and then they didn't. That never happens.
Outrageous.
Yeah. So he was one of the original versions of that, and so whenever people say JD Stacy in NASCAR, it's not a great thing. Beats the predictor there, and now
43-113 for Alec
on the top 20. On 1,000.
Good lap
there.
though. Good lap there.
Just outside the top 20. So we've got 2 different pylons going right here. The one that just shows all of the top 20, and then another one that shows 15 and then rotates. So, let us know in the chat which one you like better. I mean, I think they're both useful.
Yeah, well, I think the 15 in the rotator is nice. You can see who's coming up next.
I feel like we had a longer pylon with the.
Well, I mean. We now have their numbers. We have their numbers in there, as you can see. We've got so much information.
I do think Kyle Hendricks was a driver that submitted a photo with sunglasses on, because apparently
bold
the
strategy.
sun never sets on a badass.
It never does.
Oh.
No, that's a true fact.
So producer Chris did make a deal with Kyle, which I didn't know producer Chris was allowed to do these kind of deals, but he did make a deal with Kyle that if Kyle wins the Firecracker 400, he'll get to use shades in his headshot for future e-racer events.
Today I learned.
I would let Kyle know that the first time I did TV, I wanted to wear sunglasses, and a boss of mine who's very experienced in the TV realm said the eyes are the window to the soul. So remember that. When you're in the entertainment game, show them your eyes.
The second time you've referenced that tonight. I like it.
Yeah, I know. I don't know where that's coming from, but I did it more impactfully there.
I don't know. I put a poll in chat. So if you're watching on Twitch, first of all, thank you. Hello, welcome in to poll day for the Blue-Emu Firecracker 400. But I did just put a poll up in chat to get your feedback on the preferred scoring pylon format, whether it's the currently displayed one of the top 20 who are locking into the Firecracker 400 today, or the top 15 plus a rotating 5. So let us know.
I can't believe top 15 is winning this thing.
Oh, I voted for top 15.
Okay. All right. Well, I like seeing the top 20. For those of you that don't know, the top 20 are locked in after today. So I like to see, that's what we're focused on. I like to see 43.07.
Good lap there from Kyle Hendricks. That'll slot him into the 13th position in that U.S. Air.
Oh, I didn't even realize it was a U.S. Air car. Oh,
yeah,
that is so
looking
cool.
like an airplane.
Oh, that's so cool. Do you know why airlines don't often sponsor cars anymore?
I think
Parker, why?
Good guess.
Well, it's actually not so much anymore, but there's the connotation of no one wants to see a airline with a fiery race car around it. So,
that was an amazing lap from Kyle Hendricks right there. 2,600 I rating, and right now he's slotted 13th. That's a heck of a lap for Kyle Hendricks.
Oh, yeah. We haven't been talking about I rating.
Yeah.
Here's Carl Burke. Another one of the more interesting storylines to see here in this field as he takes to it.
Is that Richland, Washington?
Richland, Washington.
All the way up there in the Pacific Northwest. Love that. Let's go, Carl. Lay down a heater.
He's got some speed too coming to the line here.
Red car, black numbers, green rims. It takes a certain kind of man.
Yep.
And Carl's just the guy for the job. See the
I
line
like
here
the
through
green
1 and
rims.
2. Up off the bumps, looking good.
Looking real tidy. Doesn't even use all the racetrack off too. I'm looking at the temps. It's not too hot. The wind has picked up a tick.
Not a good overall top speed out of this car though.
But it is stuck. It could be what it takes right now.
Composed, very composed lap.
Definitely composed. What do we got? Does he beat the predictor? No.
Oh.
43.483 to put him 44th for Carl Burke, but a lap nonetheless. Potentially one that we'll see run again tomorrow to try and better his time.
Joseph Galata, last year's pole winner. The Firecracker 400. Could this be the one that dethrones Ottinger?
You'd have to think he takes what he learned last year and applies it now. Obviously, this car has changed a lot since last year's Firecracker 400. It's gone through a number of changes, most recently in the Q3 build update for iRacing. Of course, we touched on that last week. Dale Earnhardt Jr. giving his personal touch along with feedback from other notable members of the NASCAR industry who had hands-on experience with these cars, Andy Petrie, Bobby Labonte, and others. So the car has changed. We'll see if Joseph Galata has adapted and brings another fast piece out here to pole day for the Firecracker 400.
Sponsored by Bigfoot.
Is that a real sponsor?
Well, I'm wondering if he's referencing the monster truck or the fictitious character Bigfoot.
I'm
Unless
Can
you
he be
believe that
sponsored by a
could be so
fictitious
far.
character?
Yeah. Well, it's possible.
I guess.
If you
Anything's
believe in
possible these
Bigfoot.
days.
Oh, no,
Oh, boy.
no.
He's not gonna like that. Nope. Gave it away right there.
No,
There's a big
Bigfoot.
wiggle through 1 and 2.
I had a Bigfoot pun that I didn't go with. I just want to put it out there.
Why?
Well, I didn't feel as pro.
Okay.
Oh, no!
Uh-oh. And he was getting everything he could there.
It's a Larry lap right here. That's
It'll be
still
a lap
43-2?
time.
No way.
42-3-2. Wow. That tells you that car's got speed.
All right.
That car has speed. If that's a cleaner lap, that's he's probably not happy with himself right now over that one.
Yeah.
Well, that's got to be one of the coolest laps we have seen tonight. Because normally if there's that much wiggling around and that sort of thing, there's no way you're setting a lap that's even anything remotely close to the top 20. And he was only basically a 10th off from the bubble. That's amazing. Great lap.
Bryson Hicksonbaugh, another driver out of Arizona here from Gilbert, Arizona. Not too far away from where Livenby lives out there. Gilbert, Arizona. I haven't spent much time in Gilbert myself. It's a little far away from where I am, but another Arizona driver in the field here. See what Hicksonbaugh can do as the track temps jumped up a few degrees, 124 degrees now. Wind still holding about 6 miles an hour. Come on, Bryson. We need some good Arizona speed out here.
I could sense you were rooting for him simply because of that AZ next to it.
Hey, listen, we don't have a lot of drivers in this field. I'm going to cheer for him just because.
I sensed it.
I mean, you're going to be cheering for drivers from Connecticut, I know.
Mm-hmm.
Happy to see Ryan Preece go out there and get a win at Nashville, another Connecticut driver.
Yeah, I wasn't happy for him, though.
Oh, well, I mean, you're competing against him. I understand that.
That's the problem. Yeah. Actually restarted right there. We just didn't. I could have kept up close, but we got moved out of the way. But
It was, like I said, that was one of the best post-race news conferences I've ever seen out of a NASCAR race, so I appreciate that. I like the fact that you checked. Because you knew, like you said it, and then you knew, like, maybe not.
Whatever.
Nah.
I was feeling
Sent
it.
43-124 for Bryson Hicksonbaugh. Going to put him 26th right now. So as we start to fill this field out, Landon, and we get more times up on the board, we see and keep an eye on that top 20 where Donovan Strauss is currently located. But we start thinking about, if you're one of these drivers, where do you think you have to be right now to feel confident to not run a lap tomorrow?
Even if you're outside the top 20, obviously.
Right.
Yeah, outside the top 20. I don't know. I think top 25 because, I think there's a handful of drivers between 25th and worse that probably messed up their lap, feel like they had bad sun, didn't catch a cloud. If you look at Joseph Galata, who's 35th right now, he's driving a car that's got a similar setup to the one that's on the pole. So that's a guy that can rerun and knock you down the list. So I think top 25 or better is going to make me comfortable standing on my time. Last year, the whole field picked up speed, and I do think that the forecast tomorrow is a little bit cooler than today.
Well,
We'll watch Brian Mercurio take his lap. Blake, what do you got?
Well, I was looking at some of the results that we had last year, and in particular, the amount of time, like you said, Landon, that drivers picked up on the second day. Last year, a 42.808 was Jimmy Mullis's time that slotted him in 20th for the Firecracker 400. Seems like we've slowed down a little bit this year, but that was the time that he ran that locked him into the show. The next night, Bob Bryant, 21st, a 7.72. Mullis would have been knocked back to 29th if you consider that second day. So it's easy to sit back on your time, but this entire field, they're using this as a test session almost. They're going to learn. They're going to get faster. Obviously, we all remember the drama last year. Dale Earnhardt Jr., the last driver, initially bumped out after sitting on his time. It looked like he was in a good spot. So it was a tough thing for him to do for sure.
Fast time there from Brian Mercurio. Goes P6 with a 43.057. Wow. Fastest lap we have seen in quite some time as Brian Mercurio jumps himself up into that 6th position. That will knock Donovan Strauss out of the top 20.
Yeah, I think there's just a lot of speed left in these cars. And I think there's a lot of drivers, too, that probably maybe they built a setup on their own. They didn't get with a team like you were talking about earlier, David. And after they qualify 40th today or 45th, they go, oh, shoot, I got to find a better solution. And they go and talk to some of these guys that are faster. If you're looking for a setup, there's going to be 20 drivers after today that'll probably sell you a setup or help you out or something. So you know who to call. So I just think it's, I don't think you want to underestimate the speed that can be picked up tomorrow.
Yeah, especially if it's cooler conditions and that's a little more favorable. I think there's going to be some drivers who are staying up late tonight, racking their brains, trying to figure out what they want to do. And even if they make a decision tonight, Parker, you might wake up in the morning feeling completely different.
Definitely. And I think it's happened to us a ton in real life. And, as we try to simulate lights, there's a little wiggle there. We try to simulate real life. That is something that absolutely happens as part of the variables of racing, right? The temperature changes, that sort of thing. All right, guys, you mentioning setup sharing and that sort of thing, maybe from the guys in the top 20. I saw it in chat here, and I've just gotten it confirmed. Nick Ottinger is possibly going to make a technical alliance with Carl Burke there, who we saw run from Washington.
I support this decision.
So keep your eye on Carl Burke. We'll see. Could throw something down tomorrow. I think it'll be late into the night. These teams and drivers are going to be making technical alliances, offering help, looking for help. This could get really interesting. We might need 24-hour news reports, Landon.
Blake,
stay tuned to Twitter.
Blake might have something on requeuing. Blake, you got anything for us?
Well, obviously, I think what we talked about earlier, whether whether you decide to requalify, and like you said, the alliances that are going on, the different setups that are being talked about, learning, looking at these cars. And again, I really want to emphasize that with these cars, it's not like real life where I'm sure you guys, you've gone to your competition meetings at whatever team you've been on. I guess as Dale would talk about his favorite type of meetings when you're trying to learn things about your other competitors. In iRacing, you have so much customization in how you can look at the car. You can zoom in and look at everything. You can look at how much the rear end is up. I know one thing I've noticed in this session a lot more than the other, that spring split in the rear where we're talking about, you have a really stiff right rear spring and a really low left rear spring. I've noticed a lot of drivers doing that, and I think that's why we saw so many spins. You guys know that spring split, you increase it, it's going to get loose and it's going to get out of control, and I think that's part of the reason why we've seen a lot of guys spinning out recently.
Great point.
There's another one.
That was
Aaron
David
Russell
Brown,
here,
who
by
just
the
ran
way.
previously. Ran a 43.209, put him 35th.
And then Aaron Russell here, by the way, did anyone notice he was in his fire suit for his photo?
I like it.
From
like
go-kart
it.
racing. That is dedication. We love it. Thanks for bringing that.
Yes. Love that.
That was a fan favorite of our production team.
Across the line. 43.606. Definitely not the lap.
Fire suit didn't help.
No.
Here
We
we've
take
got
a
him.
look at his takeoff and talked about how this lap really starts from the moment you pull away, as he just struggled for rear grip, slipping and
Mhm.
sliding, trying to get going. Just
And
giving
it's
away
that-
speed at that point.
Yeah, and doing a little burnout like that sort of thing, that's not going to help you. And one of the things is, like, you've got to get that launch, and it all adds up. That all adds up to the speed that you carry down through the 3 and 4, and then you go through basically the middle 3 and 4, and then you get to the start finish line, and that's your time, and it just all compounds if it's not perfect there at the beginning. So as we see Christian Stanford here getting up to speed, he had a far cleaner moment getting out of his box, and now gets through the gears and hopes to just carry as much speed as he can to the start finish line.
And that's really what you're doing as part of your practice routine. You are sitting there from a dead stop and practicing your getaway, what RPMs you're hitting when you shift your gears, and all of that. That has to be part of your practice routine, because it does all start from the moment you pull away. As Christian Sanford starts his lap, driver out of New York, see what he can do here as we're moving along through this 88 car field of single car qualifying for the Blue-Emu Firecracker 400. Still a lot of big names yet to come we have not seen up to this point, including Colin Keister, Christian Peterson, Byron Daly, Garrett Smithley, John Adams, and more. And of course, Dale Earnhardt Jr. is scheduled to go out 79th. So plenty of drivers still yet to come, as Christian Sanford is our 58th qualifier. Here tonight, across the line he comes, 43.214.
Lisa's predictor.
Christian Sanford. That'll slot him into the 36th position.
That's rerun territory right there.
I agree.
Oh,
I
definitely.
agree. So now we've got 58 drivers who have gone through here. Well, 57. We had one, Ross Tatum, not take time. But as we move into the last third, really, of this field, Parker, I'll start with you. We haven't seen a lot of names jump to the top of the leaderboard in this in the second grouping, if you will. A few names shot to the top. Brian Mercurio, the fastest of them, but really no challenge to Nick Ottinger. Of the drivers that you know are left to go, who do you think stands a good chance to go up there and rival him?
Well, I look at Mike Conti. I think he could be really good. I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. could be really fast. I think it depends a little bit on what we see the weather do here throughout this session. But when you name those names that you just said, that is a group that by all means and all intentions could definitely go out here and, be a challenger for this pole. So I think we have a host of at least 5 to 8 cars that I personally know. Now, there's some that show up with sneaky speed as well, so I could be more than that. that in this next, round of qualifying group that we have, I just think, or this last group, it's definitely possible that we're going to see someone go up there and get this pole. I don't think we can hand it to Nick Ottinger just yet.
I hope not, that we can't hand it to Nick just yet. I want to see a shot at the pole, but I also think some redemption at that last to first challenge, and this time it being worth 20,000 could be an entirely new storyline for us when it comes to Nick and going for it in the Firecracker 400.
Well, as we get set to see another round of drivers, like I said, it's going to be start off with Colin Keister, Brian Hicks, Trevor Perry, Thomas Miller, some of the names that are about to come up next and take their one lap around the World Center of Racing. The other story we've been keeping an eye on, of course, the weather playing such a factor here tonight as we watch this track temperature jump around from the low 120s. We've seen it up into the 130 degrees. As of late, it seems to have evened out, so we haven't seen those big swings. The wind has sort of stayed where it is, around that 5 to 6 miles an hour. So if you're one of these drivers that's about to go out right now, I think you feel a little bit better knowing that we've seen fast lap times in session or in conditions, I should say, that were less favorable. So if you're, Colin Keister or Brian Hicks, Parker, you look at that and say, well, I can go out there and run that. I know I'm sitting on something good. I got better conditions.
Right. And I think the key, though, that you also mentioned is it's just been consistent, right? I think for a lot of racers, you just want to have consistency. It's the variables that you want to control and have less of. And we've had, especially early on this qualifying session, we had a lot of variation in the temperature. It was down in high teens, 118, degrees on the track temp, all the way up to 131 degrees as we saw. We wondered how high can it go? It just kept ticking up. And then we've seen the wind increase a little bit. But yeah, as you mentioned, probably for the last 25 cars, we have seen a really, stable track condition. And I think that's one thing where if you're a driver, you're in a really advantageous position in that sense because all right, that's what it is. I've been practicing with this setup. It's pretty consistent. As we see right now, 119 degrees, 7-mile-per-hour winds. Landon, I think that's a very, even track temp and winds compared to what we've seen throughout this whole qualifying session.
Yeah, I mean, it's cooling off. I mean, it's just shown, like you said, the clouds are pretty much determining the temperature. Even though we're going later into the afternoon here, you would think it'd get hotter. I think that if the clouds go away and it clears up like it did earlier in qualifying around noon, the track temp could shoot up. But you know what? I think, like you said, the consistency tells you one thing. If you're a driver that's just really focused on trying to make the race, get in the top 20 or even the top 25 so you could maybe stand on your time, then you probably feel like weather is maybe not as much of a factor anymore. But if you're going for the pole, it's going to be hard to beat Nick Ottinger, who made his time at a 120, low 120s track temp. So you're definitely going to want that. These first couple cars that are set to roll are going to have some ideal conditions.
This is the coolest track temperature that we have seen since we started qualifying here today. So Colin Keister, the first driver to get a really cool track, relatively speaking, really cool track at a balmy 117 degrees, winds 7 miles an hour
for him too.
Out of the north. And now the E-Racer predictor 43.097. That lap time would put
That's a hard one.
It would put him 21st right now if he was to hit that lap time. So you have to be in the O's to even get into the top 20. Kane Cook currently in that 20th position.
These are pretty good conditions for this group. Also, I know the chat has been just bothering right now. I do want to know when Davey Davis rolls off. So
Davey Davis will be going out before Dale Earnhardt Jr., 78th.
Okay, right before Dale Jr. Okay.
Two fan favorites right there.
Back to back.
The
and one
spinning
of those
wheel
two
on the
drivers
internet
could be a pole winner.
And the spinning wheel on the internet knew what it was doing.
Jump on board with Keister here through 1 and 2. Another driver out of Space Station Racing. Former NASCAR Coca-Cola Series driver, winner last year at Charlotte.
Track's down to 115 now.
Cloud cover moving in over the World Center of Racing as Keister flying around this racetrack. If he can get a good run here, could see a fast time. The line he goes, 43.078. Beats the predictor, but only 15th.
It was deceiving. It looked like he had just crazy speed down the backstretch, but it just didn't, probably lost too much in the corners and was able to put the whole lap there.
Another fan favorite here, Brian Hicks. The Brian Hicks driving experience about to take to the track.
It's looking to me like you're going to need an 07 or better, 07.9 or better to make the field.
Basically, he's got to be. Brian Hicks here has to be faster than his. He's got to be faster than his predictor.
Yes.
Yeah, he's good. Oh yeah, this is
known for his Dale Earnhardt cosplay, if we can call it cosplay. He does a stunning job of it. He really pulls it off well. But there he is in all of his glory. An amazing personality, just an incredible character, Brian Hicks. Good to see him here in the top 88 going for a lap.
Yeah, I love his predictor time, 43.069.
Would be a nice lap if he could pull it off. That would tie him with Brian Blackford.
Nice.
I held it together.
If he could go a little bit faster, if he could go faster than Clampett, but slower than Josh Chin, he would be sitting P11 on the pole.
Looks good to 1 and 2.
That's a nice exit.
Oh, watching
Composed
anticipation.
lap. I bet you he doesn't take a breath this whole lap. I bet you he took a deep breath and is holding it.
Man.
He's wheeling it. Oh, no!
Hang on to it, buddy!
Oh, the dream.
Oh.
And turn 4 wall for Brian Hicks, 43.853.
Heartbreaker. Because I felt like that looked so strong.
It was a good-looking lap. That, oh no. Heartbreaker for Brian Hicks there. Let's take another look at it. Similar to what we've seen already.
Oh.
Just too far down.
Over-rotated just
out.
a little bit on him. Yep.
Yeah.
Gosh.
Ah, what a shame. Finishes the lap, certainly not what he was on track for.
That's a backup car right there. Trevor Perry. Look at this guy.
Following out Hicks. Good friend of his, big Twitch streamer, pilot. Wasn't even supposed to be in his prelim, was supposed to be flying an airplane. Made it out, transferred on, and now finds himself out there running part of the Windshield Deep Total Advantage Motorsports stable of drivers. Much different looking paint scheme than what we've come to know Trevor to be taken to the track, but a good looking race car.
Big diamond. I like that big diamond line. I think it carries a lot of speed off the corner. This predictor is getting smarter, and it's getting closer and closer, the band of time, so it makes it tougher to make these decisions.
The artificial intelligence is gaining intelligence.
One exit off of 2.
Pretty soon, we won't even need to be up here.
Yeah.
No.
It will just broadcast for us. That will be fun.
Low entry into 3. Keeps it right there.
Yeah, maybe. I don't think I think a little more diamond wouldn't have hurt him, but it's a nice little corner right there. It's a clean lap. I hope it's a good one.
Across the line he comes. Will Dusk be happy or sad? 43.139 for Trevor Perry. Will be 30th right now.
I did have him going faster. So I'm happy about that. Worked for me. Germantown, Maryland. Thomas
Another
Miller.
Maryland
That's like
driver.
Parker. That's like when your team wins the game but doesn't cover the spread.
Yeah. Yep.
That's probably how
You bet with your heart.
Trevor Perry's feeling right now. We won the game, but he didn't cover.
Yeah.
He didn't get
Another
to the
Bar
Hey!
Visual sponsored entry here.
Yeah. Dalen Bard does my photography at the track.
Right. Been around the
Yeah.
circuit for a long time. Taught me how to drive jumpy trucks in iRacing. A multi-talented, wonderful
Nice.
human being.
A photographer.
Yeah. Very talented photographer.
Yes. We're blessed to have a lot of very talented photographers in this community. Very, very appreciative of everyone who donates their skills. Of course, Thomas
Also-
Miller looking to represent.
I have to say, we know it's photographer, but our producer was freaking out when we say photographer. So it was too much fun. I don't have an opinion on what I saw 1 and 2 yet. About 2:13 into turn 3. This could be good. Oh, wiggle there.
Big wiggle right there. It's a good exit out of 4. Set up for the run to the line. What's it going to be for Tom? .43.380. Lacking a little bit on the speed
Easy.
side there. I imagine we'll be seeing him rerun tomorrow.
So you have to find a little something.
Up next, looks to be Corbin McCauley. In the number 17. Predictor 43.205. 205 would put him 36th right now if he were to run that lap time. And you see that bubble time to be in the top 20 is a 43.087. That's currently held by Colin Bowden.
It's tough.
As we get this late into the amount of cars, right, of the 88, here's what we're up in the 60s, almost in the 70s, amount of cars that have run, it really makes me think back, and I've heard so many stories from my crew chief who's on my truck, Chris Carrier, of this era, right, where there was 60 or 70 cars that would show up, and there was 2-round qualifying, and you were one of those cars that put it 28th on day 1 or 30th. It was a nerve-wracking, no sleep, just absolutely, the frayed nerves situation for the next 24 hours as you went about, going up, deciding what you were going to do that race car, deciding if you were going to rerun, how all that was going to work. And he tells some stories of just, at that after the first round, they're changing gearing, they're changing motors, they're bondoing the car, they're doing all this stuff just to try and requalify into the race. And so it's just, what an era. And I think, as I watch these cars and we get later in, you start to feel, you get a sense of how many cars there are to get to the end of this lap and how intense this is going to be. At 281, it's in the top 30.
I gave him faster. I was expecting more from the Canadian there, David.
Yep.
The chat was so kind to
Yeah.
correct
I saw a lot of people
that
saying, what state is PE? Physical education.
Yep.
No, an
I know that
international
even
roster
though
of
the border
drivers
is
here.
closed right now.
Is this an actual picture of Christian Peterson?
Well,
Wow.
it's what he would have supplied to us. Also, New Canaan, Connecticut, that's a town over from where I grew up in Connecticut. So we'll see. Did you point out your Arizona?
I
fellow
thought CP
drivers?
was one of those unphotographed individuals like a Seth DeMerchant. There's no known photograph of Seth DeMerchant anywhere. But I guess CP's allowed himself to be photographed for this event.
Like
An
Anthony
amazing
Walter
short track
Burroughs.
racer. Yes.
We took
An
him out of
amazing
shell.
short track racer, Christian Peterson. See what he can do here on the high banks. Daytona.
One of those Logitech G Altis cars.
Yep.
Which we like to see. They're always fun. And a huge contingent in the Carnomaly 500. I like this shot there, just looking at the driver's hands through the window there. That is one of the coolest things about this 1987 car. If you are riding behind another car, you can actually see through the rear glass, almost seeing, those hands moving, the head moving. It's so cool to watch this. Oh,
Great
that's awesome.
run off of 2.
Yeah, beautiful line.
He had a great line and a big head of steam off of 2.
Got that left front right down to that yellow line right when you want to be there without cutting any speed.
Oh, chopped the entry to 3 just a little bit, but oh man, he's carrying some pretty good mid-corner speed. That's some pretty good speed there.
Setting up for a good run here across the line. What's it going to be for Christian Peterson? 43.023. That will be good enough for the 6th position. Slots in right behind his teammate, Michael Cosey Jr.
Ooh.
The first time we've seen in the top 10 since Brian Mercurio, and Peterson goes right ahead of Mercurio. Here's Byron Daly.
From Bronx, New York. Lives down in Charlotte now.
Well, so we did let Byron have sunglasses.
Yeah, apparently.
How do you sneak that one through?
That is because he's outside.
Yeah, that's an industry photo.
Yeah, that's an industry photo. So Byron, you might notice
I think
he's wearing
Chris should have put googly eyes on anybody that submitted one with sunglasses.
It does look a lot with the reflection coming through the glasses. So, for those wondering, by the way, Byron wearing a Colin Racing shirt there. He's an engineer at RCR, and I always like to tout this because Byron's a good friend of mine. When I first moved down to North Carolina, and he first moved down to North Carolina, he'd actually hang out at our place, sometimes sleep on our couch. But he now is an engineer at RCR and works on the 3 car, has won some races in the Cup Series, does a lot of go-kart racing, and is a big sim racer, always a participant in e-racer events. So cool to see him out there. Unsponsored, though. You think, Richard Childress Racing would give some love to their boy. But
you'd think.
Maybe
they want to make sure that he gets in the 400 before they do it.
Yeah.
He ran the bottom coming to green. Kind of an interesting line. Through 3 and 4
Long-time staple of the sim racing community, Byron Daly. He's been around as long as anybody.
I actually used to sponsor Byron in the eNASCAR series back in about 2013, 2014 with my own website.
Oh, no!
Uh-oh.
Big bobble.
Oh, he's not going to be happy with that.
It's not good when you go into the corner and your hands go right. That is not good. Still a 43.3, even after the big bobble.
So I initially had him going slower. Then I predicted with my heart, and I was wrong.
I had him going faster.
Oh,
and
baby.
I swapped to slower. Look at this. Another radius.
All right, it's time to lean. It's time to lean. We should all are we going to lean with him when he gets into the turns?
Yep.
All right.
So,
all right,
thing is, Garrett, remember last year?
Yep.
He spun it out. All 4, big wreck.
Other way, Parker, other way.
We're going the wrong way.
Hey!
This way.
Oh.
This way.
Okay. Oh, gosh. All right, we're going to do it again. Hang on.
We'll get it in 3. We'll get it in 3.
One more time.
How's his speed going into 3?
It's on the outlap. Should be doing about 202.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's good.
Here we go. Go, Garrett. Come on, buddy.
We're with you, man.
Real ride along.
This is
Connor
awesome.
Day loving this in the chat.
Get all the lead streams in the chat. A little bit for trial, not all the way.
Somebody clip this and put it on the internet.
Somebody put
We're right along.
Oh, the G's we're pulling are intense. What happens if he wrecks? We have to go all
we're gonna
around.
fly out of our chairs.
Oh man, I'm gonna fall.
Doesn't matter what the lap time is. This has been the best lap so far.
Oh, 100%. I think it's a good lap, and I think we're in the clear.
I like the run off of 2. Yeah. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Now we're out
All
of
right,
the car.
we're good.
Let's see.
The line, Garrett Smithley, 43.178 is going to be 34th. right now.
And he had a low track temp, 115 degrees, guys.
Yeah,
Just
is
dropped.
the track temp just not translating, or what's the deal?
They do have a 7-mile-per-hour wind, which is the highest wind we've seen.
Yep.
Leighton Sabile next to run here. Landon, your PR guy.
Yeah. Leighton was
Barely
asking
made it
me-
in. The top 88 from his prelim. Barely made it in a very exciting, dramatic last lap to his prelim last week. As we say hello to one Connor Daly, who has joined us in the chat.
Oh, hello there. He should have. We wanted him in the Firecracker.
I mean, Ed Carpenter made a run at it. Come on, Connor.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you at, bud?
He let his boss try, just not him. Next time, we'll
Tough.
just tell your boss it's in your contract.
Yep. It's required.
Look at that
Forever lawn.
piece. That's driving the car that Jeffrey Earnhardt should be driving in the Firecracker. Oh, look at the right front. Big high front end, low back, low rear.
Things popped up in the air.
For Leighton. Texted me earlier today asking if I had any setup tips for him.
Did you tell him to do this setup? Because I don't know. That doesn't
I
look.
didn't.
That
I
doesn't look
didn't.
comfortable.
Leighton, hang on, buddy.
Hold on to it, man. You guys are in for a ride.
Told me his goal was just to be in the top 85. Which
Well, I think he's
for
gonna
those of
achieve
you
that.
Well, we've
those
got
of
two
you-
that haven't
he's
set
gotta
a
get through
time
two
yet.
more corners.
Yeah, I think he'll be okay. He'll accomplish that goal.
Life's about setting
Ooh.
realistic goals.
Big wiggle out of 4. Gonna bring it back across the line. What's the time? 43.331 for Leighton Sabile.
It is top 85.
He hit the apron so
It
hard, he
is.
damaged his left front. There's a little scrape on there.
Interesting.
So
Smacked
Blake,
the heck out of it.
I got a question for you. We're seeing the track temp. It was down to 115. Now it's 117. But we're seeing 7-mile-per-hour north wind. What do you think's holding down these times, or is it just some of these cars are just not fast enough?
I gotta think. We had 6-mile-per-hour winds just a little bit earlier, so it's increased all of 1 mile per hour now. So you're not really. I don't think the wind's really shifting. We have gotten up to 88 degrees, so it's a little warmer. But like you said, a lot more cloud cover. We've had that track temperature drop. I think personally, it's just slower cars, or it just doesn't comply with the setup, or perhaps we're building more rubber in the track, and that's making the track a little bit slicker as these guys are going in the corners. So I think this is about, and of course it's something that when we do this, when we change the weather and we have this dynamic weather, everybody says, oh, well, I got the bad slot or I didn't get lucky. I think this is about as even across the board as we could have throughout an entire 88-car qualifying session that's going to span, roughly 2 or 3 hours. So I think everything's been about even. It's a little bit warmer, but again, the track temp this low, I think everything's about as level as you could hope for.
We
Agree with
watched
that.
John Adams come up to speed. John very excited to be a part of this one. Of course, Pocono Week in iRacing is always a time John Adams loves, as he got a win there in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series. What feels like a lifetime ago, but he had another dramatic entry into this top 88 last week in his prelims. We'll see what he can do.
Surprised to not see camo on that car, but
See if he can drop another iRacing bomb on the field. Here across the line he comes. 43.090 will put him
Just
22nd.
Oh, so close.
just misses out in the top 20.
But that's gonna be, that's gonna be in the range of whether you want to stand on your time or not. I mean,
Gonna
he
be
could
right
end
there.
up probably top 25, top 30 with that time.
That'll bring us to current eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series driver, Garrett Maines.
This might give us a good idea of the speed in this racetrack. That's the
Yep.
first O we've
Garrett
seen in a
Maines.
while. Yeah, but Garrett Maines, I think, will definitely.
Yeah,
Is
that
that
predictor time is
Powhatan? How do you say that town? Powhatan? Or is it
Powhatan.
like? Is that like Padawan, Star Wars? Nope.
Powhatan, VA, David. What country is
Powhatan.
VA?
Canada.
Canada. Got it. Good answer.
Geography.
Garrett Maines, our
Jumpsuit.
69th driver to come out onto the track here. I think that predictor time is bound to get beat. I don't see him going that slow.
I think I have to go faster.
Definitely have to go faster.
I think this will be a top 20 lap.
Not a nice chair.
Yeah. Question is this a lap that gets him solidly in the top 20? Up towards Brian Blackford's, Hendricks, Nichols, some of his NASCAR fellow drivers.
Oh, he's carrying
Little
big
slippy
speed.
slide there.
Little slide.
See.
I caught a glimpse of 200 off of 4, but I think that's a pretty good lap.
See what it is for the offer pad machine. 43,106 is going to be 24th for Garrett Maines, slotting in between Kane Cook and Donnie Strauss. Probably a disappointing lap there if we asked him. Now bring us to Conrad Sampson Jr. out of that same state for Garrett Maines up there in Canada.
Apparently Virginia's not good. Which is wild because my race team, Henderson Motorsports, the truck series is in Virginia, Abington, Virginia to be exact, and I've never had to use my passport to get there, so I've been illegally crossing the border.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
We should
Big.
probably disassociate from you.
Yeah. Unreal.
Conrad, planning on racing 5 wide. I don't know if
5
that's
wide
going to work in the
sports.
Firecracker 400.
Maybe on the last lap, Landon. Maybe on the last lap we'll see it. He gets up to speed. Predictor 43,254. Wouldn't even have him in the top 44 right now if he ran that lap time.
I like the speed I'm seeing out of this car. I went with faster, and it was a late decision for me.
Late decision out of the Cassill camp. Kligerman.
I didn't like the idea that he's promoting 5 wide, so I went slower. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I felt like that
is that just... Did you see too much of that at Nashville, or what's the deal?
I saw it once or twice. No. That's not going to work.
Maybe a little too comfortable, if anything, but carries nice speed off the corner.
Down to the line.
And
43,120. That'll put him 31st.
he was faster.
Pay the man.
And now we will get to see the Rhino.
Hey,
Landon, your
all
teammate
right.
over there at JD Motorsports. Ryan Vargas taking him to the track in his Swan security machine.
Come on,
what do you got,
Ryan.
Ryan? What do you got?
Hold her wide open, buddy.
Take that 6 fly.
43,231, the predicted time for Ryan. I don't know. If he can beat that, he might be eating up an extra serving of some chicken nuggies if he can beat that lap time.
Yeah, I think that will put him solid position, but he'd still probably have to rerun. I'm curious who is starting to feel comfortable. Once we get past Vargas here, I'm starting to look in that, and Blake, I'll get your opinion on this. Right where you are, I mean, if you watch me get now into the mid-70s of the amount of cars we've run, feeling comfortable, basically, in 9th?
Yeah, I would say I think there's still a couple of big names left to go, but we're at the point now we're starting to lock in drivers that obviously are at the very top of the board. So as if anybody was going to catch Nick Ottinger because he's up by still a tenth almost over second place. He's officially locked into the top 20 right now, even if everybody from now on went and beat him. And we're in that territory that we can slowly start, especially if you're in the top 10 or so. Brian McCurry, Christian Peterson, you can kind of start to rest easy now and maybe start to focus on race trim a little bit.
Watch the
You're
completion of the lap here from Ryan Vargas. Down to the line he goes.
That was big slide.
43.301. Definitely not the lap the Rhino was looking for. We'll have to regroup. Come back tomorrow, most likely. We're getting into a string of drivers here that all, as I look at them, all of them have a good chance to put up a big lap time, starting right here with this guy, Kevin McAdams.
And that was another thing I was about to say, is that the quality of drivers we have left is not going to make, if you're Kyle Hendricks or anybody from 15th to 20th, well, guess what? You're going to have to sweat this one out because we got a lot of good drivers that are making their way. I know Kevin McAdams has put a ton of time into this qualifying setup.
Of course, Kevin in his quintessential sleeveless attire. No Jarvis, who was... Jarvis was Thanos snapped out of this picture by our producer Chris. Unfortunate for Jarvis.
Our producer is anti-bird. Apparently, does not believe that birds exist.
And I also love, he's a lover of animals. He's got Snow Monkey on that car, which is a vegan ice cream.
Oh, that's cool.
So for those looking for the vegan ice cream, check out Snow Monkey.
Like Snow Monkey.
Snow Monkey.
What kind of?
It's a very cool name.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that out.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up.
Promo code or something. Yeah.
Well, if he gets
promo
the pole
code
here.
Jarvis. Big speed. I've been watching this. This has been pretty good speed out of Kevin.
What's it gonna be?
Oh, I think this is another deal that producer Chris put together, that Kevin could have the bird if he wins the pole.
A lot of backdoor dealings going on here with our producer. I don't know how I feel about that.
Wins the race, not the pole. Got that wrong.
Let's see for K-Mac across the line.
I don't know.
43.096.
Close.
That's going to just edge out.
Oh,
24th.
And then he stopped it on the track. Race control's not going to like that.
No.
That'll put him 24th, just ahead of Garrett
all the way
Maines.
around.
096 is, oh man, that's going to be a close one because I bet he ends up 27th, 28th, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, that's going to be tight. Although I think I just wonder about the track right now. I mean, we've seen some heavy hitters, but it's 118 degrees, 6 mile/hour winds. I mean, Blake probably hit the nail on the head, just laying rubber down, that sort of thing. The track just slickened up a little bit.
Could be.
We wait now for quite possibly the nicest sim racer in the entire world out of Lindsay, Ontario. Brandon Hawken. If you've ever had the opportunity to speak with Brandon Hawken, let alone hear him talk, he's quite possibly the nicest person I've ever met in sim racing.
That's a beautiful 96 car. So in line with the era. I'm always a fan of the 96. After driving that number in Cup for a bit. I like that number. Let's see. What kind of speed is he carrying here?
Brandon Hawken's the kind of guy, if I have to get bad news delivered to me, I want him to deliver it to me.
I just went faster on the predictor there. That was a late call for me. See if I can live up to it.
I gave it to him.
An amazing road course racer. Let me tell you, this dude can get it done on ovals, but you put him in a stock car on a road course, he is top tier. Every time I've seen him, he is just killing it out there. I'm sure he's looking forward to Road America here coming up as he wraps around the bottom at Daytona International Speedway. Let's see what this lap time looks like for him.
It was definitely tight. Oh, I think this is good.
43.082.
082.
Justin!
That'll tie him with,
Blake Neer.
yeah, it'll tie him with Blake
So
Neer
we
for
need-
18th.
We'll see if
Well,
we need to
that's
get a tiebreaker. We'll get the tiebreaker on that one. You know, I thought that was interesting. I thought he had really good acceleration off the corners, which I know we're holding these cars wide open, but it could have been a gearing thing. You know, his
Yeah.
car seemed like it got up to speed quick, but it stalled out at the end of the backstretch. Like I felt like we saw 212 with him right away, and I would have expected to see 214, but we didn't see 214. And he got off the corners really well, so could have been a gearing thing. You remember, these are open setups, and with these cars, there's a few different gear options that these drivers can pick.
And the predictor throwing us a tough one with these conditions. We haven't seen a lot of fast times, but NASCAR driver from McLaren, Shadow Esports here, Blake Reynolds. Can he be faster in a 43.111?
If he hits that time, that would put him between Donnie Strauss and Michael P. Frisch in 28th. Blake Reynolds is going to need to improve on that and beat the predictor if he's going to jump up into the top 20. One of the most accomplished drivers, of course, in the sim, as you mentioned, coming out of the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, but somebody who can drive a car sideways. One of those few guys who, when he's out of shape, he's at his best. You put him up there with the likes of a Seth DeMerchant. Blake Reynolds makes incredible saves that most people wouldn't be able to. He's proven it in these races before. See what he can do here down the Daytona super stretch into 3.
This is clean.
We saw 214 with him.
I had him going
This is
faster.
that's a good line. That is a good
It's
line.
a good lap.
I had him going faster too. This could be a run at the pole. Let's see it.
43.049. That is good enough for 7th. Great lap out of Blake Reynolds.
Wow.
Great lap.
So the track does have speed. All right.
It's there.
That confirms it. It is there.
We're only a few away from Davey
Don't-
Davis.
I knew you were going to. That's what I thought you were going to say. Maybe not that car we see off in the background just creeping up in the line.
That was, that was
who
Dale
was
Earnhardt
that?
Jr. rolling
Oh,
back
that's
up
weird.
there.
Filter
Okay.
time on it? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No.
Now here's a sneaky pick right here. It's somebody that could really surprise with a big lap time. Michael Gonzalez out of Huntington Beach, California, with that Casey Kerwin sponsorship on there.
This guy's graduation gown on there. This guy's graduation photo here. Love to see that.
I think
Very
Gonzo
cool.
has the speed to put down a surprising lap here.
Our producer would like you to know he also apologized for providing his graduation photo, which he replied, "No, that's awesome." So we're big fans of that.
We talked about photographers.
Yeah.
Of a wonderful photographer here in the iRacing community, Michael Gonzalez, puts out great pictures. He spots for Nathan Lyon in the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing series, and he's a hell of a wheelman too. Multi-talented young man. See what kind of lap time he can set here.
Just getting some feedback from Leighton on his lap. Said he needed a leased motor. Is what he's saying. So
Oh,
apparently
no.
the JD Motorsports ride did not had one of the house motors.
Yeah. Move the
Blake
lap here
Reynolds
for
said he's
Gonzo.
shaking in the chat.
See, what's it going to be for Gonzo? Cross the line. 43.096
Ooh.
will tie him with Kevin McAdams for 26th.
By
Do
the
you
way,
want to
develop
update the tiebreaker that we mentioned between Blake Neer and Brandon Hawken? Blake Neer will be slotted one position above through the tiebreaker on Blake Reynolds. Or on, I'm sorry,
Hawken.
Brandon Hawken. Thank you. And Blake Neer. Hawken and Neer.
It is correct on the pylon, so the pylon won't change. But just so the viewers
So Neer
know.
will be 19th. Hawken will be 20th. Now we get Sean Butler. Roommate of Kevin McAdams. Bottom split commentator using the
Ugly
wrong motor
car.
oil.
Ugly car.
Another driver for Total Advantage Motorsports.
Don't forget the post qualifying party in our Discord. Qualifying's over. See if the group gets going. Look, I see it's called Prelim After Party right now. I'll change the name.
There you go. Parker, you just got roasted.
What's that?
Hunter Daly checks in and says, Parker, what color is that jacket? Retirement home brown?
Wow. It is a salmon, I'd like to say. It's also a Samuelson. I think it's a very high-end brand. I probably got off a consignment rack.
The bottom 3 spots right at the cut line right now are separated by 1,000th of a second.
Unbelievable.
We see the end of this lap.
close.
I just would like to say to Connor, we can't all have suit sponsorships, by the way, if you've seen his Instagrams.
Well, 43-1-1-1.
Yes, I said
Make
he-
a wish, Sean Butler.
Slots in right between Donnie and Michael P. into the 30th position.
Did he beat his predictor?
That'll bring us to Cody
Yeah.
Dutton. That, as I look at the list of drivers yet to run as we move into the final, 11 drivers here left to run. Of course, Davey Davis coming up next. Dale Earnhardt Jr. right after him.
Who's that?
Malik Ray in 82nd. Josh Parker, Nathan
Oh, that's-
Lyon, Conti, somebody you highlighted earlier, Parker.
That's gonna be
Adam
a fast one.
Gilliland. Still a few bullets to dodge here if you're Nick Ottinger. Maybe a surprise driver leaps up here and puts down a lap nobody expected.
Could be Cody Dutton. Let's see it.
Could be.
He's from. All right, we got another one in Canada here. Chilhowie? Chilhowie? I'm just gonna say he's Chill. He's from Chill. Chillville.
Chillville, Virginia, Canada.
Yep.
Come on, Cody.
No stranger to these cars. Won the iRacing Throwback Cup race. It was an open setup event at North Wilkesboro with these cars. So no stranger to open setup racing. Again, those cars were a little bit different back then, but somebody who fancies this type of car, see what Cody Dutton can put down as he rolls down the back straightaway.
Got some in the chat asking about body styles and cars are running. Basically, if it's a square, it's a Chevy. If it's a little bit more pointed and round, that's the Ford. And then we had seen the Celica out there as well, and a Lumina Numina bird. But
The
that's
Celica,
our-
of course,
that's
not an
different.
official body.
Lumina.
Yeah,
Not an
Lumina
official
Numina.
car.
Button.
That is
Whoa. let's-
43-1-1-3.
Beats the predictor.
That'll
Oh.
tie him with Alec Martinez for 32nd.
These have been just solid times in this entire session. And here
Now
he
it's
is,
time,
the man we've
Davey.
all been waiting for. Davey Davis.
Faster or slower than the predictor, folks?
I think I know the answer.
If we had
But
a
I'm
crowd
right.
poll on that one, I think it would be entirely skewed to the faster side.
Davies Doobies.
No
All right.
3 digits on the car this time. He's knocked one of the numbers off, or it's just significantly smaller. I can't tell. Typically in the 305.
It's because he tries
This
to
might be
sneak
a-
it on that scheme. We do not allow it.
Might be a 30.5. I don't know.
Word has it he's running the fixed setup.
Perfect. That's all he needs.
Wait a second. I said he was going faster. If that's true, I gotta get rid of this.
You know, when you ask why is Davey so popular?
I made that
Why is this man so
No.
popular?
False
He
information.
became popular. It's tough to say if he became more popular for what he did while he was awake or while he was asleep on stream. Some would say it's because he was asleep on stream, and that's really what catapulted him to fame. But he drove his way into the top 88, and an exciting last lap to his prelim. He drove his way into this field.
Anyone who makes it to the top 88 can be proud. It's a big moment. I mean, this time
Huge
you had
moment.
It's a nice looking lap too.
there were so many cars start this thing.
One of the biggest laps of Davy's life right here across the line.
Can he do it?
And
Slide
wow,
save
15,
43.156.
He's gonna want to
Good enough for
rerun tomorrow.
42nd. 42nd overall for Davy.
yeah, that's
Solid.
you're gonna have to
Solid
rerun there.
He's gonna want to rerun. So next up,
Hey, who's this guy?
Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Oh, never heard of him.
The winner of the final prelim last week.
Wow, and
Is he a big sim racer?
a challenging predictor time for Dale because he's pretty much got to beat his predictor time to make the field.
Right now, 20th.
I have been told.
43.082.
I've been told. I think there's a lot of people that believe this is going to be a fast lap. He is on the same setup as Nick Ottinger. What I've been told. It's a hard to drive setup, but he did win his prelim. He helped develop these cars. He's a big fan of this event and these cars. Can Dale Earnhardt Jr. go out there and challenge for the pole position in the Blue-Emu E-Racer Firecracker 400? I think this is going to be a really fast lap.
Got everything that he needs. He's got the setup. He's got the experience. He's got the personal touch. Can he put all the ingredients together for one magical lap?
That's a lot of speed into. It's a little fire out there. Did he lift?
Yeah. I don't
Did he
know.
lift?
That looked like some
Oh, we're chasing him down with the drone. Wow, that was awesome.
Wow, what a shot.
I think it was just sparks, actually.
it might have
Nice
been.
little drift.
Surely he didn't lift there again.
Burned it down just perfect. Look at that run off of 4. I think he is.
To the line. What will it be for Dale Earnhardt Jr.? 43.105. 28th overall.
That is gonna. It's gonna be risky.
Puts him right in that territory to consider a rerun, does it not?
It does,
Oh,
and he
it's
was
right in that
30th.
territory.
Last year, didn't rerun, and just missed it by 1. So this could be better for him.
Logan McAnally, the next driver up here out of Waycross, Georgia.
Man, it just depends on how these next 10 cars go. I mean, less than 10 cars.
Yeah. If he can stay up there around 28th, I think you could be all right. Especially if if a lot of people in front of him decide to rerun. He doesn't. So it just depends, but he's in a very similar position he was in last year's Firecracker 400. The difference is he came in this time with a win in his prelim.
Yeah, that's right.
So
That the
tomorrow
Iceman?
is gonna be interesting.
Got the
Again,
Iceman on the track. Terry Labonte out here.
I think there's some in the chat saying it's Logan's birthday here from Waycross, Georgia. We're not sure if we'd have to validate that first.
He starts his lap. Yes. I mean, we can't just blindly trust what chat says, right?
I like the chat, but I don't know if I trust that. So. How do I do here? Yeah, guys, so I've fallen back in the predictor rankings tonight. I'm 13th out of 343 playing tonight.
I'd see somebody's missing from that list on today's top scores.
Well, that's weird. Hey, JD Laird there. Second. Oh, here we go. Chilled House, you have 0. You're
Yep.
struggling. Landon, you got me by a couple hundred. There was a period there where I was scanning Twitter and I kept forgetting to do my predictor.
Yep,
So,
I've forgotten a few too.
Lap
that was
complete.
tough.
McAnally goes up into the 13th position with a 43.063.
What a lap.
Big lap for Logan right there.
With the Terry
Track tempo
Labonte
is
throwback.
dropping here too again. 116. Colton Salick now. He's had a good run last year.
Made the highlight reels for last year's Firecracker 400 for all the wrong reasons with the big flip down the back straightaway. Driver out of Tampa, Florida. Ready for a shot at redemption here.
At least he didn't flip for 4 miles like we had in the prelims.
Right.
We need to get that as a sort of as a, in between our shows here. Just have that playing on loop, that flip, because it's still going right this time.
I see the wind is just trying to pick up a little bit. I saw it just flickered to 8 miles per hour out of the north.
Someone in the chat reminded me words are hard, but they don't rise. I was listening to something else. Wow, trying to say those. Thanks.
Yeah, you can just ignore them. Whoever said that, you can just ignore them.
Words are hard.
So who is that? Who's outside the top 20 now? Brandon Hawkins knocked out. Eric Smith has been knocked out. Jake Matheson, Colin Bowden, John Adams, Kane Cook have all been knocked out of the top 20 at this point. And sitting on that cut line, still Blake Neer, the 43.082.
All I've seen tonight is I know tomorrow is going to be nuts.
Wild.
To see who makes it into the Firecracker 400. 'Cause it's going to be tough.
We had drama last year. It came right down to the last car.
Wow.
43.069 for Colton Salick will tie him with Brian Blackford for the 16th position.
Well, we'll have to get a tiebreaker on that one. Wow, what a lap.
Great lap for Colton Salick. And now we will look at one of the most, if not the most exciting drivers, especially on a super speedway, Malik Ray. There should always just be a camera dedicated to watching him work his way through the field. We will see what he can do. Another one of the
Mr.
Space
Excitement
Station Racing
himself.
drivers. And another bar visuals hybrid scheme. Some elements of Space Station, some elements of bar visuals in there.
Malik had a good run at Charlotte in the NASCAR Series earlier this year.
Excellent run.
Yeah. He's definitely one of the more popular streamers out there. He's always entertaining to watch, as you said, on track, but even off track, he's entertaining.
He starts his lap. Right on board with him, see what he does.
I like it. Neutral.
Little bit of a slide, but car composed, not a lot of movement out of the hands there. Another great drone shot here.
Real low entry up to the middle. Just chases the rear end up the track.
Could be a decent lap here for Malik. Cross the line. 43.072 will put
20.
him 18th and knock Dylan Alt out and put Colin Keister on the cut line.
That could be a big lap. We don't have a lot of cars left. That gives you a serious chance of locking yourself in.
These are
Drivers
all big
left
names
to
coming
run.
up, though.
Dylan Duvall, Josh Parker, Nathan Lyon, Michael Conti, Raja Caruth, Adam Gilliland. My goodness. Can one of these drivers that I just listed off take the top spot from Nick Ottinger, or at the bare minimum, get themselves into the top 20? I mean, if you got a revolver, it's got 6 bullets, and these are all 6 bullets you're going to have to dodge right here. If you're Brian Blackford, if you're Colton Salick, Malik Ray, Kyle Hendricks, Colin Keister, you are nervous right now. Driver out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. And that timscorner.ca livery.
I was Mike Dillon in the eNASCAR series. He's a solid racer.
Long-time participant in the NASCAR world.
Looks like you got through 1 and 2 pretty decent.
Oh, yeah.
You just don't want to hit that bump funny. It seems like a lot of drivers, oh, look at the great drone shot here. They just hit that bump funny in 1 and it rotates them too early.
Look at the track temp, 112 degrees it just hit as he went into turn 3. Nice line. To the line for Duval. The lap time, 43.114. Only good enough to tie with Ryan Doucette for 38th.
The track temp is plummeting. Lowest we have seen in the entirety of qualifying, 112 degrees. Just a couple cars left.
Surprising lap. That'll lock in your top 15 at this point. Jake Nichols, 15th, locked in at this point. Drivers at risk, Brian Blackford, Colton Salick, Malik Ray, Kyle Hendricks, and Colin Keister, with Josh Parker set to run. The multi-disciplined sim racer from both NASCAR Heat and iRacing. Driver for Joe Gibbs Racing over the NASCAR Heat world. Longtime sim racer.
Yeah, he's done both.
Yep.
He's been on the console side. He's on the computer side. He's sort of one of those, in the sim racing world, he's kind of the equivalent of like going and driving all sorts of different race cars, right? In real life. He's a Kyle Larson.
He's been at the
Cody
highest
Stewart.
level of both.
Yeah, so he goes and drives, you know, the sim equivalent of USAC midgets and then heads on back over to the stock cars, sort of thing.
Yep. Not many people can say that. In our community, they've been at the top level of both.
No, that's an amazing stat. And
Blackford does get the tiebreaker over Salick, by the way, so the pylon is correct. Just for the viewers at home there.
oh, Josh Parker just got a big wiggle down there in 1 and 2.
Didn't lose much speed though off of 2. It looks like to me.
No, he's got a lot of what pitch in this right now? What are we going with in the short track term?
Rake.
Rake.
Well, yeah, your rake is wrong. Looks clean off of 4. Cool
To the line
temperatures.
for Josh Parker. Big slide.
Oh,
he's going to junk it.
Backup car.
43.173.
Knock the nose off of it.
Not a good lap time either.
He's gonna have to definitely go to a backup.
Disappointment for Josh Parker.
Well, we're
That'll
hearing
bring
might not be a backup. We'll see. We'll look at it.
that'll
He's
bring
back
up
to
next. Driver for Roush Fenway Esports, Nathan Lyon.
And a real classic Thunderbird there.
That's right.
071 on the predictor for Lion.
Hey, he missed a shift. Missed a shift getting up to speed right there.
What's that going to cost
boy.
him, Blake?
Well, it's better to get it done early than late, but that may cost him a mile per hour. So I definitely heard him. He hit the chip for sure. Much longer than I'm sure he would have wanted to.
A little mistake there. The predictor time in 071 would put him 18th and knock Colin Keister out. If you're Nathan Lyon, that little mistake, you got to move past it. Focus on the job at hand. Hit your marks. Get as good of a lap as you can in here. Track temp sitting at 115 degrees. Wind 7 miles an hour. Nathan Lyon starts his lap.
With that information from Blake, I went slower in the predictor time. I could be entirely wrong, but I don't think you can get in the top 20 without being perfect here tonight.
Yep.
There's no way. We've just seen it's been so tight. You've got tiebreakers happening throughout the field, especially in the top 20. Everyone has brought it here. He's going to be hoping to just put a time that allows him to at least be in a decision of rerunning tomorrow or not.
It's looked like a great lap.
It has, definitely.
To the line for Lyon, 43.014. Good enough
Wow.
for 5th.
Wow.
Imagine if he doesn't miss the shift.
Oh, don't wreck it. That was pretty good car control.
If he doesn't miss the shift, what could it have been?
Wow. What a lap.
I was completely wrong, guys.
I was wrong.
What a
too.
great lap from Nathan Lyon. Wow. That will knock Colin Keister out of the top 20 once the scoring updates. And that will bring a name, Parker, that you mentioned as somebody to keep an eye on for a pole shot here, Michael Conti.
This could be, well, this is an easy one on the predictor, but this could be the car that Nick Ottinger is watching right now.
And the wind
Filtered-
just died down a little bit to 6 miles an hour.
And the temp is 115 degrees.
Coolest it's been all day.
This could be a huge threat to Nick Ottinger having a chance and having the chance to make a decision on taking the last to first challenge from Radius.
$20,000 on the line for this lap.
Maybe
Two
we have a
drivers
chance.
left to run after Conti. But all eyes on the driver for Junior Motorsports, Michael Conti, out of New Jersey in his number 8 filter time, patriotic paint scheme, good-looking race car.
Great looking. 212, 213 into turn 1.
Nick Ottinger's got to be holding his breath right here to see
You know he is.
how his fellow eNASCAR competitor does as we ride down the Daytona Super Stretch. 212, 214.
203, 202 in the
Little
center of the
wiggle.
corner. That
Oh,
is
big run
clean.
off of 4. Big run off
To
of
the
4.
line for
What is it
Conti.
gonna be?
Oh, wow.
42.988.
Third.
Good enough for second.
Second.
Big lap. Big lap. But not big enough as Ottinger, I think I can hear the sigh of relief.
Yep.
2 more drivers remain. Raja Caruth.
With his helmet on.
Yes.
He's ready.
Ready to race.
That's definitely
Always
one of
ready
the
to
core headshots we've seen so far. He's a quick iRacer, but I think there is a sense amongst the community, amongst the competitors, that sometimes you just know when a group has brought it. And Nick Ottinger, his setup skills, you just knew he was going to be really quick. And I think some of the people associated him with were going to be really quick. So I think they just figured out a little something on those setups, and some of these other teams have not been able to stack up. But remember, they get to tweak it all for the race.
Raja's made some starts in ARCA series this year as his racing career begins to bloom. Certainly a lot of time on the iRacing side, but good to see a lot of real-world experience being built up for Raja as well. All that doesn't matter right now. It's all about one lap here at Daytona.
Good speed there. Love those drone shots. Great job by our production team. Almost 3.5 hours into this broadcast.
So that knocked Kyle Hendricks out of the top 20. Malik Ray sits in 20th right now. Out of turn 4 for Raja Caruth. What will it be?
It's good.
Does look like it's got some good speed.
Yeah, it's look good.
For the line, 43.169 for the Space Station Racing driver.
He'll want to rerun tomorrow for sure.
Absolutely
Oh, yeah.
right.
It's outside top 50 almost.
And that will leave us with one final driver, Adam Gilliland.
Wow, that locked Colton Salick in. And now
Salick
it's
is
Malik
locked in,
Ray.
and now is it going to be Adam Gilliland or Malik Ray? The Gary Mercer trucking machine, an accomplished sim racer,
Accomplished speedway racer.
very accomplished speedway racer.
Long time sim racer. Long time sim racer.
All the pressure in the world for this lap. He knows what he has to run, and he knows what he's been running in practice. We don't have that information, but he knows if he can beat that time or not.
You think it's more nervous, David? Adam Gilliland or Malik Ray right now?
Malik Ray.
I think he'd have to be Malik. Adam holds his destiny in his own hands. Malik right now is just watching, just hoping that this 81 car doesn't bring the speed that Adam Gilliland hopes it has. Down at 213, 214. Well, really holds the bottom.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it's
A lot
stuck.
of bumps there. What can he get into turn 3?
212, 214 maybe.
And once again, just stuck to the bottom. We've seen so many more cars that were maybe way more trimmed out that went to the center.
The wind kicked up as well, is up to 8 miles an hour on this run down to the line. The final lap for the night. Adam Gilliland, 43.088, not good enough.
So close.
29 for Adam Gilliland. Malik Ray locks in the 20th and final position, but Nick Ottinger, for the second event in a row here on eRacer, will be the pole sitter and have a chance at retribution for the $20,000 last to first challenge as we bring him in here. Nick, congratulations. An amazing lap. And for the second time, you will be leading the field to green in an eRacer event a second time with a chance at $20,000. Can we get your answer right now? Are you taking the challenge?
I don't think we're going to be leading the field at green with this Logitech G machine, so I think we might be going to the back, for some redemption like we did in the car anomaly event. So that was a fast lap by our team. I got to thank a lot of the guys at Team Conti, and pretty much I had some help with Seth the Merchant, trying to at least go back and forth with times and ideas to put out there. But man, it felt good. I felt nervous. I felt really nervous when Michael Conti went out there because I knew the speed he had in that car. But I'm ready to go to the back. I don't want another car anomaly event to happen, but we're gonna give it our best shot.
Well, and that's gonna be my question. So you're taking the challenge from Radius this time for $20,000 plus the $2,000 that you would win for winning the race. So this could be a $22,000 win if you're able to pull it off. What are you gonna do differently so it's not a repeat of what happened to you in the car anomaly when you got wrecked there?
I just may stay like a half track behind the first pit stop, to be honest with you. I was biding my time in the car anomaly event and just trying to be consistent and not really push it that much, and just had nowhere to go in our wreck. And I'm excited for Radius to put this this challenge up there once again. I really want it, to be honest with you. I want to do these events that you guys put on eRacer. If I didn't, really put a lot of stock in trying to hone my really super speedway stuff, no matter where we're at. So I love these events. I'm loving that I have the option to keep putting Logitech G out there more, William Byron Esports and TSM. So I'm ready for this challenge.
Nick, that's amazing. We're so proud of you, so happy for you. We love this story. This is incredible. You tried it in February. You got wrecked before the first pit stop even, hardly. What are you going to do different this time to make it last and to get yourself to the end?
I'm gonna try keeping it off the walls. I'm gonna try keeping off other cars mainly, and just try getting be the first car ahead of everybody else, whether that's strategy or whatever. I know we have a plenty good enough race car, and we did for the car anomaly event, and just unfortunate to have the chance to really show it, but we'll put the same amount of effort we did there, and hopefully be $22,000 richer. I like the sound of that.
Nick,
Sim racing does pay.
before we let you go, I got to ask you, we heard about a possible technical alliance between you and Carl Burke. Can you confirm that?
I don't know. He has to rerun first, to be honest with you, man. He's got to put his message in Discord to see what happens.
There you have it.
holding his
Nick,
cards close to
congratulations
chest.
on winning the poll. We will look forward to seeing you, not up front, taking on the Radius $20,000 challenge coming from the back next week in the Firecracker 400. Congratulations.
Thank you, guys. Love these events. Keep them coming.
Appreciate it, Nick.
Appreciate it.
Wow, that was
Absolutely.
amazing.
There you go.
So we
Unreal.
have the table is set for tomorrow. Unbelievable. We've got 20 drivers decided already. We've got 22 more to go, plus one extra. We'll have more details on that. This is going to be a tense show tomorrow.
Yeah, and just to kind of recap a little bit before we jump off here, Dale Earnhardt Jr. ends up 34th on the night here on the first night of first round qualifying. So it's actually a couple positions worse than he was last year's Firecracker 400 at this time. So he's in a very precarious position. We've got a bunch of big names throughout here that were outside the top 20. That it's going to be very interesting to see who decides to rerun, who doesn't, or who just sticks on their time and thinks, you know what, that's all I had anyway. I got nothing for them. Let's bring it on.
We've already
A lot
got
to be
22
decided.
drivers have committed to rerun. So we are going to have a show tomorrow. We have a show tomorrow because
We got a
22
show.
of them are going to rerun.
We will have a show tomorrow, and we do hope that you come back to join us as we come back to the air 7 p.m. tomorrow night for round 2 of qualifying to set the field for next week's Firecracker 400. A lot of race car drivers are coming away from this one tonight with a lot to think about. They got a big decision on their hands. Who will rerun? Who will sit on their time? We will find out when we come back with you tomorrow, 7 p.m. right here on the eRacer Twitch channel, twitch.tv/eRacer_GG. What a night tonight. Nick Ottinger wins pole, does take on for the second time the Radius $20,000 last to first challenge, and a whole lot of storylines they're beginning to build. Can't wait to explore and see where they go. Can't wait to see you back here tomorrow night. Appreciate you checking it out. We will be back for Parker Kligerman, for Landon Cassill, and for Blake McCandless. I'm David Schildhouse. Thanks so much for watching, and have a good night.